All right, good morning. It is 8:30 a.m. and we're here for a consent agenda review and work session. I heard there are a bunch of walk-ons. Haven't seen them yet.
They're
in front of me now.
four. Columbia Basin Herald, the walk-on for the $40,000. I did.
Oh yeah, did you meet with them?
Yes.
How'd that go?
It went good. I mean, as good as it could have went. Sean wasn't happy with, obviously, with their work. We let them know that. Let them know that next year, if they decide to go with the Herald again, that they will provide us, the Board of County Commissioners, a copy before it goes to print. And then it has to be approved by the committee, the Herald, and us before it goes to print.
Yeah, that would get around a lot of the issue, I would guess.
Yeah, I basically told them I didn't want to see that happen again, and that was the way I felt that was probably the best way to make it so it didn't happen again.
And then we have an annexation petition for the city of Ephrata that Tom is going to submit. New Hope has a stop grant. Grant County and Adams County, they haven't a grant. It's like $2,000 or $3,000 difference between, they have their wrong amounts for Adams and grants. So Barb recommended we just re-sign it. Or it is what am I calling it? Online, the signature online. So we'll put it this week so we can just get that. And then a road levy certification that is walk-on number 4. Okay.
Do
you want me
to here, Caitlin?
Do you want me to talk about that one?
Yes.
So it's actually online that the certification happens, so I don't have a form for you.
Okay.
Cindy, you did it last year.
Okay.
And so what happens is the end of February, we get our levy information in from Rachel on Friday. And it's a quick turnaround because on March 1st, we have to report to CRAB what our levy is. So I have last year's 2024, but this is 2025. And really, it should look very similar to this online that you would fill in. And it's just us reporting our numbers that Rachel has provided. But it's something we have to do to maintain. So
this is the walk-on?
exactly. But there's no form because it's an online thing. Dave will send you an email and then you have to do the Adobe signature. Last year was the first year that they did it digitally. So Cindy did it last year. Years before that, we actually had a manual form that we would send around. So
that's the problem. We get these little forms to sign, and it's like, wait, has this gone through consent agenda or not? So
we want to make sure that the board says it's okay to sign, but the information is what we've already published. It's our tax information.
Okay. Is that the copy right there, Rob?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are all walk-ons.
Okay.
So it might get emailed to you, Cindy, because I don't know if they have Rob's email. We'll find out. If they do email the signature request to you, we'll forward it to Rob, I guess.
If we forward it, then we lose it, because I was trying to forward it to Barb, and we can lose the link.
You're right.
Because
it's a digital signature. So
yeah.
I'll have to have the CRAB resend it if they do send it to you.
And then I took that CRAB training.
Yes.
It was a 2-day, it was actually, I had to bounce in, and I had some meetings that conflicted it, but yeah, it was really funny because they were talking about however you separate it, because other counties are kind of like us. The engineer has got to report directly to the board, this guy.
Yes.
So I just did a quick email and made sure Cora and Andy, and I think I CC'd you on it to make sure that we have that, so that it is actually an RCW.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in compliance. So
Thank
I
you.
knew that before, but I just want to make sure reiterated the importance of that.
It's very
training.
It is, and that's actually very important, and it's needs to be reflected on our org chart a little bit.
It is reflected on there, isn't it?
But it's shown as a dash.
It.
It's shown as a dash line. It just needs to be a solid line.
Solid line it up, Dave.
Solid line. It's got to be solid.
No, I think there's a lot of new commissioners on the training. We're just talking about funding sources, and I like how they did it in 2 days, so it was sometimes road, it can be a little overwhelming. overwhelming and so it was
It-
nice, it was in 2 days. And
It was
and
Derek? Derek did the training?
Well, there was a whole group of them, yeah,
Okay.
there was
And
several.
items
were
that were
presenters.
an issue.
I didn't see any. Do you have any items on the consent agenda that were an issue?
No,
I wanted to bring up number 9 again. It's the ordinance amending the chapter of the Grant County Code for the weekly meeting time.
Oh, that's right.
It was held because we were waiting for a response from the prosecuting attorney's office about the human resources meetings. But we did not, I have.
and Kevin did not have an answer because it was actually Rebecca who's doing it, so we do not have an answer on that. But how we're doing it right now, we can continue just having a public comment or an opportunity for the public to comment on Decora's agenda, so we can continue to take action there, I think is I guess the easy option until we figure out if we really need to do that, or
Okay.
I think we're double covered here.
Okay.
Those hold, what, another week or two?
I think we can probably move forward on it. Well,
Just,
So the issue with it though is that if the prosecuting attorney's office felt that it would be better to have the human resources items on consent, Decorah had requested that human resources meeting stay at 1 o'clock. So that way she can present the human resources items right before the consent agenda, rather than vice versa. And that was why you guys had chosen to hold it until after.
Okay.
we got
See,
the
I
response from Becca.
I thought we resolved it by having the public comment.
So
Because,
that is a way to resolve it. I just,
okay,
you had wanted the response from Rebecca before you had made the decision on this time.
okay.
and she hasn't responded,
Correct.
so just hold it.
And then let Tom know that your meeting next week will be at 2 o'clock and not 1 o'clock then.
Yeah, it needs to be at 2 o'clock next week.
And then you'll just log in.
Yeah, because it's 5 o'clock there, so then it's like, I think I have a break from 5 to 6.
Okay, so hold number 9. Okay, the Veterans Advisory Board, I did reach out to the Veterans Advisory, Otis. Yeah, they do not want to give that building up. They're kind of looking for that lease space up by district court. So they're looking for somebody to fit in there. And then Tony, I think, has been working with Otis or the Vietnam Veterans Association, so they can have a collaborative and a cohesive.
Work together partnership. And how did they respond to that? Were they okay with that?
I think so. I think there's just some personality conflicts
The
in,
original gentleman,
yeah, and then
who I
in our office as well. So our employee is gone, their employee is gone, so we should be able to move forward on a better path.
So Tony had talked about moving the BVA though into their building if they have a larger space.
Yeah, currently we
Keep
don't
them
have
together.
that.
So I went to district court on Wheeler with Swahil and one of her main employees that works in Moses Lake to look at district court. And it would work for them in those offices, but they need one more conference meeting area. So I have to meet with district court to see if they would allow them to access an area to do meetings. So that I did last week.
Okay. Because before they've been, well, it was a different judge, pretty adamant that nobody
Yeah,
crossed
with-
this line.
Yeah,
So we had to build a wall, separate the bathrooms, they can't even share.
yeah. But I haven't met with them
Well,
yet.
that would be nice if we could,
Desiree was in a training and,
Well, the potential that we could have that all down at Ivy Street then.
yeah, that's what we're trying to do. And youth services is open to it. They just want the space to work for what they need it for. There's like 4 offices at the district court building that could be used. One small one, 2 pretty good sized ones, one really good sized one. So the one bigger one could be used as a meeting area. like 2 meeting areas. One they could rent, or not rent, but schedule. But a lot of different groups use it, so we need to look at the schedule and see if they would be able to use it. But district court has 1 person in an office this size.
Wow.
They just sit in the middle of it. It's one of their community court counselors. So
Why couldn't they go to a smaller?
yeah,
office?
that's kind of what, but I need to talk to district court because they usually will be like, absolutely not, or maybe the new judges will be better about it. So, and I haven't talked to them or to Tom or anybody about it. So,
Okay.
I planned to yesterday, but I was not here. But that would be a nice overall fix.
Yeah, that'd be the easiest fix.
And the veterans knew I was doing that, and Swahil knew, and district court knew, they just didn't know.
And I think we've got the contract, from Rena signed, or Mom Media. Did Rena sign it? Or just a-
She has signed it, but it's up with Rebecca for her signature and review.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because they're coming in a month. End of. I did respond to Mr. Hammond. He left a voicemail about the Franklin County Commissioners and the vaccination, so I let him know that we have no plans nor discussion, we have had any discussion about COVID vaccines.
Yeah, I asked questions about that, and basically the response I got was the reason that they did that was they handle their own, so the Benton Franklin Health District have their own vaccination clinics. We do not have those, so we're kind of in a different boat.
That makes sense.
Just let that Mary die and Didier, they just kept talking. I'm like, I don't even know what you guys are talking about. Like, I think I know what this is. They're like, you know, I'm like, okay, no. Then they said it a couple more. I'm like, okay, why are we talking about COVID right now?
Exactly.
I thought COVID was over.
That Saturday.
Yeah. All right, I didn't see any questions for me. Any commissioner discussion topics?
Pretty well covered.
All right, did I miss anything good yesterday?
And the low bidder for the general office was
112,
not complete, so we'll go to second bidder. Second lowest bidder.
113. Well, the lowest bidder was like 785, right?
And they forgot a couple
They,
things.
yeah, they pulled their bid because they forgot to add the heating, air conditioning, and something else.
Oh, well, they tried.
Yeah.
Surprised they have a bond big
Where
enough.
did you see the totals? Did Tom post them?
No,
I think he just told us yesterday.
I don't know.
Did he tell you?
No, one of my friends probably. I don't know. My friend David bids a lot of county stuff. I think he called me yesterday and was just talking about one of my projects and told me about that bid. He said it went over $1 million, so he couldn't bid it because his bond's only $1 million. He said he was 1, 2, 3. The lowest was 785. They missed a bunch of stuff, obviously. He said that was less than cost. He said he thought it was
I think they were scrambling to get it in and the deadline, and they were scrambling and forgot an item or two.
Let them do it. Take that long. Only if they're from outside Grand County. Thing for you.
I have yet to receive confirmation from the representative from Hope Source about the coordinated
Oh, yeah.
software meeting.
Great.
So I would assume that tomorrow's meeting is going to need to be canceled. I emailed her again this
Did you
morning.
call her?
No.
Might try calling.
Okay. Stephanie also
Or
though
call
is
Elizabeth and ask her.
for Hope Source.
No, Elizabeth at the City of Moses Lake. She'll hunt it down. She's got more time than you.
Well, so Stephanie Bonwell also, who's supposed to be presenting the HNIS, is now unavailable for
Oh,
that meeting time tomorrow.
nice.
When she had first responded, she had said it would be difficult to be there,
Yeah.
and so then I asked for confirmation. One
So
way or
just,
the other, and
yeah,
she
reach
said-
out to Elizabeth, see if you can get a hold of Brittany and then just reschedule it.
But yeah, that second bid was $1,133,000.
It seems like so much for that building, but I don't know, doesn't it? I mean,
Well,
I,
gotta pay those
yeah,
wages.
it's true.
Then,
$1,113,000 get so many done.
You also got an email for the Afraid of Forward Council of Governments. Were you guys going to be serving on that? I know Tom Gaines is part of it, and Danny was.
Did they invite Kevin? Did they reach out to Kevin?
I don't see Kevin's name on this
Well then,
list, but they're having a meeting this Thursday at the PUD. They're ordering from the if you're wanting food.
what was it for?
It's Freedom Forward Council of Governments.
Is this kind of like the revitalize
yeah, it's
downtown?
same thing, I think.
Okay.
Freda?
And it's what time? It's this Thursday at noon?
It is. You know what's funny? It actually does not say a time on there.
Hmm,
It just says this Thursday. Let me see if it's on the calendar.
it was on the calendar.
Okay.
I think
Yes,
Barb had
that's-
asked if I was going to go to that, and I said, well, they've never met with me, so I don't think so.
It's 11:30 to 1:30.
I believe Danny was the main person and Cindy was the alternate at the time. So we just wanted to see if there was any interest from anyone.
Do you have any information on it that you can send me?
Yeah, I can forward you this email.
Okay.
It's a very short agenda that goes with it. It's update on the survey, updated proposal for evaluator, organization contributions, and next steps.
Rob, did you talk to this Thomas Cantu? Is that?
Nope. I haven't. I don't think he ever talked to me, but I'll talk to him. eventually.
About a study they conducted by themselves
Yeah.
regarding security.
Security or code?
Both.
Oh, he just is a,
Sensitive data about crime prevention and security.
yeah,
What could that possibly be?
I don't know. Our wonderful clerks have been fielding his messages for me.
Do we want that statement from the Herald for today?
The invoice?
Yeah.
Oh, it's on there.
You already got it on there?
Yep. I have the invoice from the Columbia Basin Herald, and I also have the invoice from the certified folder
All right,
for
you're
the
on top of it.
distribution.
I should have known you'd be on top of it.
You're just double checking.
Any other items to be discussed, or would you like to go into recess?
I don't have anything else.
Think I have anything else?
All right, then we'll go in recess until 9 a.m. when we're back for our Public Works update. Good morning, it's 9:03 and we're here for our Public Works update. Yeah, Andy messaged and said he is in a meeting. I said, you're missing a meeting.
Thank you.
I guess we'll just move on now.
We will move on. And James Davis, for item D1, James Davis as well should have been here. James would have gone over the accomplishments for the week. James is also a very good contact for the chain of command, the D4 chain of command, for when we have those phone calls that you receive often. Kind of the first point of contact should be James Davis. He's our operations superintendent, if you will. So he works with all the district supervisors and foremen, so he can handle those complaints directly. And I think it's a good idea to have that single point of contact. So my goal was to have him give you his cell phone number today, but we will follow up with that. So items D1 and D2 are really James Davis. And we really need to have someone as a point of contact. So what happens is I will get something that gets sent to me, and I'm mostly office, so I don't really have the knowledge of what's happening on the maintenance side, but I pass it along. And the first person that I pass it to is James. And I say, hey, here's the email, or here's the phone call. We need you to go ahead and look into it, find out what's going on. Often there's reasons for it, as we're finding out, because what'll happen is you'll get called as a commissioner and you're hearing one side, but there is always a second side to these stories. So that's one of the things. And as I was talking to Kevin earlier, a good thing on your part is let them know that you're going to have staff look into it, and they get back to you and or them directly. It's always the best thing. Give the staff an opportunity to look into it, because sometimes it is an issue, and then we need to figure out a way to address it, and it may include policy changes as well. So the D3, the 510 discussion, that is on the solid waste side, which is really something that we need to have Andy discuss with you. Same thing for the consent item. But I can talk a little bit about the tort claim with the East Columbia Irrigation District. So, because you need to be briefed on that one. A few weeks ago, you were out that 1 week. So I don't know if you know what has happened. So getting you up to speed is also really important, because right now you're on, if I remember, you're on a committee.
Yeah, our insurance pool.
Okay. So it's not a tort to us, it's to them. So what happened is the, not USBR, but the irrigation district damaged our bridge that we were replacing. And that was last year. And then the irrigation district came in, removed the rest of the bridge. There are costs associated with that, which added up to about $20,000 on our side, the county side. By the way, the commissioners previously approved the road fund to move forward with getting the bridge replaced. And so far, we've had about $80,000 in expenses to replace that bridge. That's going after grant, that's doing preliminary engineering. There is a whole process that you go through. The board did authorize that to work with the irrigation district, to work with USBR, replace that bridge, go after grant money, and all that's been very successful. But then when we were working with the irrigation district, we pulled off the first, the old bridge had 3 separate spans, and we took off the first span, and they were supposed to widen, dig out basically the canal on the other side, because the canal is 120 feet on either side, and where our bridge is at, it's only 90 feet wide. So they wanted to dig that out so they could get additional flow, which they enjoyed all last year. The additional flow came by, so there was additional water for below our bridge. So what happened though, when the irrigation district was digging out the east side, they backed into our bridge, damaged our bridge to the point where we couldn't even use it and we were going to put in a temporary bridge, a Bailey Bridge. USBR, in fact, donated a whole bunch of parts to the county so that we could build a temporary bridge, but that no longer was possible. So when you look on our website right now, it shows the bridge is closed all the way until 2027. And the reason why now is, and there's no temporary bridge because they damaged it. So we've incurred about $20,000 in expenses that are separate from what the board authorized. The board authorized to replace the bridge and also to put in a temporary bridge. But the board has never authorized the removal of the bridge, the old bridge, and there's expenses associated with that. So we let the irrigation district know that. In fact, we invoiced them. They are not, they do not want to, the irrigation district does not want to pay that bill because they figured the bridge is going to get taken out anyways, and they took it out. And we're trying to explain to them, we have expenses too during that process, even just documenting the fact of what happened. So there's 2 reasons why. I know it's only $20,000, but there's 2 reasons why we should proceed with the tort claim. One is it's $20,000, which is significant, and the board did not authorize that. Second reason is also to preserve, if there's any reason that the grant, if the grant is not successful and we don't replace the bridge, they damage the bridge. So we need to express that in the claim. The claim is for $20,000, but it also documents the fact that they damaged the bridge. Made it so that we couldn't just extend the bridge as it was. We could have added a fourth, put in a third pier, and then add a 4th span. We could have done that, but after they damaged it, it was not possible anymore. So it's important to document what happened, put in our claim for $20,000 for 2 reasons. So as I let the irrigation district know recently, is it does jeopardize our grant, the fact that the bridge was demoed and removed before the grant became active. So there's the grant, when someone like the state and feds give you money in a grant, you are not allowed to draw from it until you're authorized to draw from it. So yes, we have a secured grant to replace the bridge, but we're not authorized to draw from it yet, especially when the bridge was damaged and it was removed. So it was removed and the expenses happened before, and they're not eligible for the grant. That's the problem. In addition, it makes it so that WashDOT's uncomfortable with moving forward. I mean, it's still going to happen, I think, but it jeopardized our grant a little bit because there's no bridge to remove now. And in our original plan, we were going to replace an existing bridge, but now there's not a bridge. So there's a weird situation going on. There's no bridge to replace. So there's a little bit of jeopardy there. So by doing this, that lets the irrigation district know, hey, there are actual expenses the county accrued. Not much, $20,000, but still is. In addition, you put our grant in jeopardy with that. I know it was an accident, but it's important legally that we get that. So that's what happened that last meeting, is just kind of a discussion. Should we move forward with this, or should we basically have the road fund just absorb that $20,000? It's more than the $20,000. It's also making sure that if should anything bad happen with our grant, I think it's going to be fine. I've been moving forward with it. WashDOT, in fact, I have a meeting with WashDOT today at 1 o'clock for that. But there's still a little bit of risk always is.
So what
Yes.
What if we were to wait until after you have that conversation with WashDOT?
It's not a bad idea. Get authorized, get the grant authorized and start drawing from it. Maybe even get our first check out of it. It's not a bad idea. The $20,000 is not insignificant, but the board could authorize that from the road fund and basically say, hey, that bridge had to be removed anyways. Yes, it was done early, it was improper, but we're willing to go ahead and pay that. So
The only thing I worry about on that is if, okay, you're willing to pay that, so you move forward, then why aren't you willing to pay for the whole thing?
yeah, a good point.
That's the only concern I have.
And this would document the issue. And by the
That's
way,
what I like about.
yes, our inspectors did a good job documenting the damage. They have lots of pictures, they have lots of writing on it. That was part of our cost, actually,
So
is
they should-
having to document that.
They should still share in the cost. I mean, they're the ones that did the damage,
Yes.
not us. Regardless of whether we're taking the bridge out or not, they should still share in that responsibility. And they should understand that.
It's my recommendation as well, just for documentation purposes, even. That was the discussion, because you were here, Cindy, at that, and you're,
Thank you for letting me know.
it's, it's one of those things that is tough when there's accidents like this, that there's liability associated with it. And we don't want to shift that to us.
They're the ones that did the damage, they should pay for it. Because I'm sure if we did damage to
Oh, yeah.
their property, they would expect us to pay for it.
Absolutely.
So fair is fair.
Exactly. So that is just a little briefing on the tort claim. John Barisi is moving forward with that tort claim, has asked them for their form. And we should also know more about the grant before that tort claim goes out anyways. Wow, that is all I have for you because the rest is solid waste, the 510 discussion.
Andy is online with Shiloh,
Aha.
I believe.
Andy. I'll have you go ahead and follow up with item D2, the discussion on 510. I'm unaware of what that is.
Not unmuting. They sent the calendar cancel invite.
Oh,
for next
no.
week,
Oh,
and they
no.
thought it was for this week, so. Yeah, she's not unmuting. I don't know if he is not with her anymore or not.
Well, the consent item with parametrics is something that needs to move forward. We need to keep the project marching forward. That one's pretty straightforward, but I do not know the details of it. But it
Yeah,
is
we
essential.
We saw that one.
Then we can follow up with the other items next week with the next update.
It'll be the following.
Oh, wait a second. Is that the one that we canceled next week?
It'll be a couple.
Following week.
You have a break from it.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Nothing else for you?
That's it.
All right, we'll go into recess until 9:30 when we're back with the sheriff's office.
Awesome.
Good morning, it's 9:30. We're here with sheriff's office for an update.
Good morning. So this morning, I want to fill you in on a little bit of success that we've had with our new DCR that we have. It's working. That was brought on by Renew, who has partnered with us on the patrol side and the jail side. She's been very, very, very successful and very instrumental in helping the office with our mental health and drug crisis that we've been dealing with in the county. So Chief Coates is, I don't want to say supervising her, but with the work that he does on the jail side with Lanny, he's got some information from that side that has been very, very beneficial for our jail population. So,
Which, thank you, Sheriff. This process started probably about 2 years ago when the grant funding became available. where the sheriff's office can have an embedded DCR, designated crisis response. So if you're not familiar with what a DCR has the capability of doing, but they can civilly detain somebody based on what the exposure's been, or kind of the way that they're exhibiting their signs of behavior. So they could be a suicidal ideology, suicidal attempts, mental health illnesses that they are ruled gravely in danger. They can't maintain their own safe well-being or be harmful to other people. So having somebody with a master's degree in mental health and coming into the sheriff's office is huge. And again, this is a 2-year process. I think that we all know what the need is in the jail, but sometimes what we don't often see is what the need is in the community. So working with Dell through the whole process, we're able to hire one on. So then she started last month. She's still, like as you guys know, an employee of Renew, but she's embedded with the sheriff's office. Her daily schedule right now looks like she starts at 7 o'clock in the morning, but in the first hour, she's been at the jail seeing who the new intakes are, kind of what the obstacles were for the night or in the early morning, so she can start addressing them on her end of the business. So far, just in the last month, we've been able to detain 5 people out of the jail. And it's a variety of reasons. One being a suicidal individual. Actually, we've had a few suicidal people, people that were just not mentally fit to be in jail. Some of them actually were working with the arresting agencies to file the charges rather than booking them into jail. So whenever we start talking about diversion, this is going to be the spearhead of it all. This is going to start hopefully changing the mindset and the culture of what we've all grown up in with law enforcement is if somebody breaks the law, they have to go to jail. This is starting to sway that. Now working with a lot of our law enforcement partners, we're able to talk to them and say, this individual isn't necessarily fit to be in our custody. This is where we're going to go. So that sounds all great. That's good for me. I get these people out of our custody. They're getting the appropriate treatment. Unfortunately, it's also ruffled a few feathers. One being Samaritan Hospital. Nobody had a clue that within the first month of her being in the sheriff's office that we're going to have a total of 5 ITAs, involuntary treatments. Sometimes the individual, their medical needs are above what our local hospital can satisfy at times. Sometimes they're on divert. There was one instance where they didn't have any COVID tests available, so we had to automatically divert to Samaritan. Well, Samaritan now is going, why are we getting everybody from the jail to get medically cleared for a medical bed for mental health? So yesterday we met with Renew, the supervisors of the DCRs. We're coming up with a plan, trying to meet with the prosecutors to try to get, there's an educational piece when it comes to furloughs or releasing people or charges pending to be able to get for the prosecutors all the way up to the judges levels as well. So Renew is going to be meeting with Samaritan, kind of know them what our expectations are, and kind of hopefully that they'll actually start working with us a little bit better than just complaining whenever they see the jail van roll up to Samaritan's emergency room and we're looking for some help. So overall, it's been a huge success. Again, I don't think that anybody figured that we're going to have 5 detainments out of the jail, but that also kind of is a reflection of how much it was needed as well.
So do they have to go to Samaritan first? Because I thought Parkside will take individuals without going through the hospital intake first. They can do a direct intake.
So I believe you have to have a referral.
So they take them to the hospital to get the referral, and that's where they need. So Renew cannot do the referral. It has to be a hospital.
Yep. So that referral, or that they call it a medical clearance. You have different blood work. If you're at a certain age, you have to have an EKG. You got to have a pregnancy test if you're a female. They just want to make sure that there's no possibly underlying health risk. If I'm treating you for a substance abuse disorder and not recognize that you're a type 1 diabetic that's insulin dependent, or your thyroid's out of whack, that could potentially be creating these erratic behaviors, they want to make sure that that thyroid's treated before they
But we
send you
need
into
to do
inpatient.
Samaritan, like we can't utilize the hospital up here?
We
Or-
can. So if, in the medical world, if we're on an ambulance and I pick you up in Ephrata, I'm mandated to take you to the nearest medical treatment facility, which would be CBH. Well, we're not medical, and I've pretty much made that very clear, and I'm under no obligation to take you to the nearest medical facility. And if I think that this individual needs a higher level of care than what I know CBH is willing to offer, why am I going to waste my time stopping at CBH?
Okay,
I'm just going to take you straight to Samaritan. So,
okay.
does that kind of make sense?
Have they denied you at all?
I wouldn't say they denied us, but they sure haven't opened us with, or welcomed us with open arms. It's kind of you kind of get shunned while you're there a little bit, but, you know, I'll stand in front of any medical director or anybody over there justifying why we're at Samaritan, and they're there to provide a service. And so are we. You know, at the end of the day, and I've told everybody this, from the corrections staff to the DCRs to Dell, at the end of the day, if we can say that we're doing what's in the best interest of that individual, I'll sleep good.
Well, and we have been, you know, with our diversion, regional diversion, that's what we're working for. Thanks for explaining, because I just don't know the steps. Like, okay, they've got to go get clearance, and so thanks for explaining that. 'Cause
Absolutely.
I think there's a lot of steps that I think we don't know as we're sitting here. And how do you do that?
Right, and that's just a really quick drive-by
Uh-huh.
screenshot of what needs to be done. I mean, if it's somebody that's in our custody that has charges filed, then you get in the conversation with the prosecutor's office, defense attorney, then you got to go in front of the judge and kind of determine, is it a furlough, or are we PRing? I mean, it's just, it will take the lieutenants or myself off of the floor for an entire day, working through all the hoops sometimes to be able to get that individual some help, which is sad sometimes. But, you know, you got to do what you got to do. But Laney's been absolutely great to work with. Anything I missed on there?
No, thank
I
you for,
probably
thank you for that. She,
over-elaborated on some.
no, I think it's great, but I think it's important that we know that we're trying to work towards, and he touched on the part that's probably the most important to me. And I've talked about it for quite some time, is a lot of times jail is not the best place for these individuals. And shame on me, when I was a patrol guy years ago, I always thought myself that, gosh, if I could just get somebody in jail, I could get them the help that they need. And that is the furthest from the truth. And that's just from lack of understanding and lack of education. So having that diversion piece with Lanny in there to be able to find other options for individuals that don't need to be incarcerated has been a really substantial step in the right direction for us and for our correction staff as well. So it's been fantastic, and and of course, Dale's a great partner to work with. So that goes without being said. I just want to give you another quick House bill update. A big one that's kind of on the radar of all the sheriffs in the state, as well as WASPIC, is House Bill 1399. That is the House bill that talks about the qualifications for elected office of sheriff, and then chiefs and marshals and police matrons in the state. As you would well probably know, that us as sheriffs, we stand very firmly against that legislation. It violates certain Article 1, Section 33, Section 19 of the United States or Washington Constitution about the free voting of the people for their elected office of sheriff. The sheriff is the last elected office of law enforcement we have in the state. So they want to have it controlled by backgrounds being done by the state patrol, deciding factors by CJTC, if they're going to be, this individual is qualified to run for the office of sheriff, instead of taking the vote away and taking the vote away from the community and the public. There's already measures in place to basically, for lack of a better term, police elected sheriffs when they're in there. We had a recall in Benton County about 3 or 4 years ago, I believe it was. because it went to the people and they recalled him. So we've tried to reach out and talk to advocate groups that were in support of this House bill, both with the Washington State Sheriff's Association as well as WASPIC. Those attempts to speak to those groups have been ignored. They've chosen not to, which is not a great sign for us because we've tried to provide, even work through this to find some solutions that we may be able to put in place that might be reasonable expectations for the elected office of sheriff for qualifications, but they have not spoke to us and have refused to. So I've reached out to our representatives to let them know about my stance and as far as WASPIC and the Washington State Sheriff's Association as well.
What was that number again?
1399, House Bill 1399. There is also a sister Senate bill, and that one, I gotta look up my email from Judy real quick. I can't remember what that number is. It is Senate Bill 5364. She said that one is not moving in the Senate. The problem with the House bill right now, it is starting to move, having a little bit of traction. That's a little bit bothersome in my opinion. Having that ability for the community to vote for their elected office, because I guess me looking forward, if this House bill is to pass, where does it stop? Does it move forward to other elected offices in the state that's going to be now controlled by the state instead of the county communities that are in place to vote for their elected officials? So I did get the letter for the Chelan County support of their air unit. Thank you for doing that. They appreciated it very, very much to help them with their pitch for their House bill that they're working on. And the House bill escapes what number it is on that one, but they're very appreciative. The sheriff was, and wanted me to express his thank you to the board for sending that over. A little bit on the jail. When we first kind of started talking about the jail project and the build, because of the size of it, we talked about the possibility of contracting beds with other agencies in the area. I was immediately reached out by East Wenatchee PD. They want to get on the radar as far as negotiating for to lease or rent some bed space in the new jail when it's completed. They did write a letter and basically expressing their interest to sit down and negotiate a contract when that day does come. So I asked for them to do that if they want to sit down and negotiate for a contract for the beds, that they send at least a letter of interest that they're willing to do that. Has no details of any contract or what terms are, nothing like that, only their interest that they have 2 contract beds here with us. I'm also expecting the same type of letter to come from Douglas County as well. I have a feeling that will be probably just scratching the surface, most likely. I wouldn't be surprised if other counties or cities reach out to me as well. I've had police agencies as far as Clyde Hill over in the Seattle area that are interested in contracting with us as well. It's pretty minimal for bed space for them, but he says because of the cost that they are paying over on the west side, it's literally cheaper for them to transport their inmates to us, house them here, and come and get them for court or have them video court here. It's cheaper for them to do that than house them over there. He says it's becoming absolutely insane. They're getting charged out of the housing. So
that means we should charge a lot then.
Well, the problem with doing that, you end up having 5 or 6 different contracts that it's a nightmare. So
Well, that's why Douglas County and East Wenatchee is looking to go elsewhere.
Yeah. They've been priced out. They can't afford to house people in Chelan County at their regional jail anymore.
Oh.
Their increase was over 400%. Yeah, so I believe that's what the sheriff said, if I remember right. They just can't afford it anymore. So they're looking for other options. And that's all I got for today. So did the board have any other questions about the medical stuff that we talked about last week when Chief Coates was gone? Can't remember. I don't remember if there was any glaring questions. Do you remember, Gina?
I think Phil was going to put together all of the data
Yes.
to show
Mhm.
the board. And
Yeah, and that's as far as the kind of the pros for it, and
Yeah.
And,
There was a case out of Spokane.
yeah, Spokane case and some of that information to bring forward. So I know we're still collecting some of that data and we'll keep updating you on that system of what it kind of looks at. But we're planning on moving forward, gathering more information from these other vendors that are out there. I know, Rob, you had a question about the possibility of Omni, if they were an option. Looking into that a little bit deeper, we have even issues with Omni being able to provide some of the medical staff that they provide us now. I just don't think that they're going to be able to provide that. And of course, if we get to the point, we'll have to go out to a RFP anyway. And so if they're able to provide that, they'll be able to put in for that proposal if they can, fulfill the needs that we have. So, yeah.
Jail medical is a very, like I would say, a specialized branch of medical. So Omni, they specialize in medical, which you see in the clinics, the hospitals. That's not the jail setting. The jail is not a hospital. I mean, it's a clinic and you're confined into the walls, and then you have that element that you have to deal with that a hospital doesn't have to deal with, is the fact that there's a criminal element behind that individual and his rights have been removed. So, I mean, it's very, very, very tough to get jail medical people that are qualified to actually want to work there. And being able to contract out that something that's specific to jail medical, that's what you know you're going to get, instead of somebody that has no clue what the environment's even about.
The other difficult side about correctional medicine, it's very, very difficult for medical providers to get insurance to cover on correctional medicine. And that's a problem with Omni having their ability to do that. So that's why you're going to see these larger companies that are, like we talked about NavCare, the big company,
Right.
they can afford the insurance piece that covers their contract with it. Smaller companies like Omni, it's very, very difficult for them to get that that insurance coverage for correctional medicine. It's just tough to have. People don't want to insure anything to do with jails. There's just a lot of liability, a lot of risk. So, yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to get back to you about the Gallup versus, the Gallup.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, I had that on my list too. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Go ahead.
We did talk to HR about that,
Mhm.
and they kind of mentioned that if it's just a study, maybe doing the Survey Monkey, and it would be thousands cheaper
Mhm.
to kind of start that route and kind of see.
Yeah, Gina stopped over and talked to me about that, which was great. Great information, which I didn't know.
Thank you, Gina.
Yeah, no, which I didn't know that was there, so it was very, very informational. It was great. And if the board's not willing to go forward with the Gallup at this time, we would definitely like to jump on board and do something with the Survey Monkey for sure. We would, as far as what that looks like. So, we've got our strategic plan. We got those things kind of out of the way for our office. I think we are ready to move forward on that side of it. And
So you would do that for like corrections and also.
we would do
with
it for the
jail?
entire office. The entire office. Yep, everything. We'd have to break it out, and we'd have to work with Gina, of course, but break it out into groups of the different sections and divisions of the office to make sure we're applying things to everybody. Yeah. So, yes, we're excited. We want to do it for sure. We want to move forward and we'll be the guinea pigs. We don't care. So, yeah, I think it'll be very beneficial for us in the long run, and I'm excited to do that. Just try to make things better. Yep.
I think we'll start with the sheriff's office, so we can do the whole
Perfect.
entire county.
No, absolutely. We're willing to do that for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Getting the employee engagement or getting that feedback, sometimes people aren't prepared for it and are not ready for it. And I would rather have a department such as us that are ready to and accept that feedback. Some department heads may not be open for that.
Well, thank you.
That's all I have.
All right.
Yeah. Any other questions from the board or anything? All right. Fantastic.
We will recess until 10 a.m. Good morning. It is 10 a.m. and we are for facilities and maintenance update.
Good morning, commissioners. So I thought today we'd bring a brand new employee to you so you could meet him. Kevin, this is Eli Westra. So he is the new maintenance 3 for Public Works. His second day
He brings some good experience with construction and is a sharp person. He picks up things really quick, so he's getting the lay of the land and showing around and finding a lot of good things. Learning the work order system very quickly.
Yesterday, they spent the day in Wilson Creek and Heartline going through all the various systems up there. And then what's next?
So today, after we get done here, we'll head up to the admin building and introduce them to Andy and the people up there. They have not yet met him. So we'll go walk through the shops, go through that facility and see the systems up there as well. Get him acclimated to that a little bit, pick up some of his tools, show him his truck. And yeah, lots to do.
Good. Good time to get them
Um,
started.
our Metasys box showed up.
It is here. So we sent the agreement over to Johnson Controls to have that programmed and set up for us. So I'm waiting on a time when they will be here to do that. Kind of at the mercy of when they want to do it, but I'm hoping here next week. They're getting warm in the jail instead of cold now. So in 1 week it changed, right? So no, we want to get that back and have that ability to adjust things as we need to. So usually it's just minor tweaks, but now we got to run through the system, find the dampers and the controllers that are up in the ductwork, turn them on and off manually, where we should just sit at a computer and adjust as needed. So it'll be nice to have that back. Another thing that you probably aren't aware of yet, because I just was talking to the technician yesterday, the coroner's elevator. It's been down for a couple weeks. They're waiting on parts. They still did not get the part in. They're looking for a specific relay that's antiquated and obsolete. So I went online and helped them, and we found one. It's on the way. And he's thinking we'll need a couple more, but we'll get the one replaced that's giving us the issue. And then what I had them do right away, I said, okay, so this thing is getting to be a problem. It's old. What is it going to look like for replacement? Replacement will be about $130,000 to upgrade it and get it up to speed. So I guess what we need to figure out from there is, if we're going to put the health district back in the bottom of that building, is that something we need or want? I mean, that's a decision, I guess we'll have to
Currently, they
think
don't have an
about.
elevator over in their half, do they? Other buildings?
No,
One
it's
of
only
the
on the
elevators
corners.
is for
It's only in
the-
the corners
the
half, so.
bodies, so
But
if they're-
it would become theirs if the corner moves out and
Yeah.
we remodel the basement so that the health district takes that over, then
The
obviously.
coroner takes the bodies down there.
No,
What's the elevator for?
just personnel. Bodies don't go to that office. It's just a
Okay,
coroner's
I was-
office,
Okay,
yeah.
so they don't, well,
Yeah,
I didn't
I know,
know.
I know.
So they don't-
Why do they go there?
Yeah,
Those
so,
offices are nice too.
yeah,
They are.
they are. So, and that there's a calculation there, right? As we are playing our shell game and moving spaces around, if we were to eventually be able to bring district court here and close Wheeler or what have you, what do we do with the health district building? So I was aware of that. I know Craig has called me a couple of times wondering how we were doing on that. It's been kind of an ongoing thing.
Mhm.
So work to do on the elevator, and then long term, before we sink $130,000 into an elevator remodel, maybe.
That's a lot of money.
Well, if the corner moves out and the health district still doesn't have enough space and they move out, then maybe we sell the building or something. Who knows what conversations to be had later.
Yeah, because I don't know, how does that work with ADA requirements? There's no way for them to get downstairs.
Correct.
Yeah.
So no, that's probably the biggest thing, why it's there.
Yeah.
They don't haul a lot of big things up and down in that basement. But yeah, things to figure out and think about. The biggest thing is it's with having, once you start changing, like if we could just do the controls, it wouldn't be terrible. Probably 30, 40,000, but once you start doing that, then you have to upgrade the hydraulics and put all those changes in there as well. So it's almost like a complete rebuild of that system.
So you're probably better off just to replace it.
Elevators aren't cheap, and they're one of the hardest things on. The work is protected by the state. You know, we're not even supposed to go in there and change a light bulb. I mean, we do, but we're not supposed to.
Right.
You know,
You have to have it inspected every year.
well, we have to have it inspected every year, but any kind of even minor maintenance, we're supposed to call those inspectors out. And, or not the inspectors, but the elevator service company. And a lot of those companies come out with a, you know, minimum 1 hour charge of $350, and then every hour after that's 170. And oh, by the way, every call is a 2-man call. So, okay, so we're $700 an hour for the first hour. You know, they know that they can do that because we can't say no. And they all do it. Otis and ThyssenKrupp and Kone and all of them. It's a racket. It's a racket. So I could speak at length about my disdain for elevator companies, but
So no, they do quarterly inspections on the elevator. The company that Tom's like talking about, Otis, is our current contractor. And then the state inspector comes every year and he double checks everything to make sure that work was done.
sometimes your inspector is actually your mechanic. It just depends on how many years you go, because they go back and forth, so.
But our elevators were done this year. They all passed with no, other than that one down there, we don't have any issues with any of our elevators, so. So moving on from that, we just discovered another issue down in the dungeon down here. So the water heater for the historic courthouse is down.
Is that the new one?
It is. So we had a bad connection on, a couple bad connections on some contactors in it. The wires burned up. We're running probably 75% on it now, so we had to take a couple elements out, but it should be enough to keep the water warm. It might not be as hot as normal, but parts will be here for that on Thursday, and we'll have that fixed back up. So it just, loose connection. The wires are burnt back about an inch.
Wow.
Abel caught it when he walked down there, and he could smell it, and he found the issue, so.
Good for Abel.
So.
Okay. Some other facility stuff. So today I'll be meeting with Blair and going over the in case of crisis app, safety center app. I know he's working on some of the templates in there for near miss reports and accident reports and things like that. Make it easier for employees to submit those. We talked about the snow plan. We talked about single point of entry. So I got some other things I'm going to be talking to him about today, about that stuff. So he's in the loop and helping us with that. But
Other than that, I think it's just, we're getting Eli put on there. We did interview a maintenance for, and we offered and he counter offered. So we're going to talk through that. Tom and I had a discussion on how we're going to approach that. I'll be getting with HR and we'll see where it goes. So, but hopefully we'll get our final position filled up and be whole as a group again.
Well, Eli, it's very nice to meet you.
Yeah,
nice to meet you guys too.
Yeah. And I think that's it, unless the commissioners have questions for facilities.
Budget looks good. I took a quick look at that, so everything's looking good there.
Did you guys ever talk to Andy?
We did talk to Andy. We need to have a follow-up on that. He's aware of this process and he was good with that, so.
I think Andy and I have a meeting tomorrow with the insurance investigator too.
Feel free to bring it up, so.
Hopefully that works out.
Very good. Okay.
I guess the only other thing I get, we are moving the person for Superior Court Administration back into that meeting room at the top.
Are we?
Yes. Okay. So,
I think we heard that yesterday. The closet.
yeah.
The closet.
So apparently, talking with Crystal, that they had put it on their PMRT form and had discussions, and I was like, well, I wasn't aware of that. So anyway, she'll be a little more cognizant of informing us. And then we do have another, the sheriff is taking over a office where we used to have in the back of where the law library used to be. where emergency management is. I talked to Kevin McCray. He doesn't see a need for that back office on the other side of the
As a
hall.
victim witness coordinator or something?
Yes. So, well, actually, they have a person from Renew that's helping with behavioral health issues or mental health issues that they needed a space for. So we'll get that set up for them as well.
Welcome aboard.
I'm excited. Lot to learn, but it's been good so far.
Good.
We've got 2 great instructors right there, right next to you.
No shortage of work to do.
No.
Yeah, between the two of them, they'll keep you plenty busy.
I imagine. Seems that way looking over
He's ordered filters already, putting in work orders. We're getting them going.
Good.
Fun stuff. Thank you.
He picks it up very quick, so it's gonna be fun.
Nothing else?
Nothing
All
else?
right, we'll go into recess until 10:30.
We're
All
good.
right, it's 10:30 and we're here for a tech services update.
Good morning, Commissioners. Before I let Joe go with his spirited Elon Musk 5 points, things we've done, I want to start with one of the things that I did today. I was made aware recently that the Secretary of State's office has sent a letter to all county auditors discussing CISA and the elections infrastructure in the state. They are saying that CISA's funding supports elections infrastructure information sharing and analysis center, which provides election officials with essential cybersecurity real-time threat intelligence, blah, blah, blah. They go on to even to say that CISA helped stop white powder attacks in Western Washington. I don't know how a cybersecurity firm in New York does that, but their biggest fear is that there's been cuts from DOJ at Homeland Security, which includes people in CISA, and there's a genuine concern that now all of these Albert sensors that they forced everybody to put in are not being monitored. What do you know? So the proverbial put all your eggs in one basket is coming home to roost. So after seeing the letter and knowing the legislation that is currently being proposed, I sent a very long testimony to our representatives today discussing the need to not just drop the bill, but to look at this from a completely different angle. You have put all of your eggs in one basket. Now there's a real fear, a real genuine fear that all of those counties that have a monitoring detection, monitoring, doggone it, I'm gonna screw it up again.
Detection and response.
Thank you. MDR, monitoring, detection, and response, is not going to have that service. So now they're vulnerable when really kind of the 3 counties that have ignored this thing all along have stepped up and are likely not vulnerable. So they would be better served if they created a cybersecurity grant program. And my suggestion to them was fund it at $2 million a year at the state level and offer every county 50 grand. It comes to a little over 50 grand to offset the cost of doing their own MDR. If you did that through a grant program, you could allow all of your local governments to work with the industry partners that best suit their needs. And since you're administering the grant, you can actually account for the security that you're requiring. You can prove it. You can hold people accountable. So I think that's far better than being heavy-handed and dropping these laws and telling these people you have to do this stuff, and work with nonprofits that now may have been axed, and are completely out of our control anyway. So just wanted to let you know, in case you heard, hey, your central services director sent this really long letter. I did. That's what it's about. And I'm hoping that they take note, because it's kind of a mess and they're freaking out about it. So.
Well, I'm glad we're one of the counties that doesn't have to worry about that.
Yep,
Yeah, we took care of ourselves.
we did. All right, Joe.
Cool. All right, well, let's start with fairgrounds cameras, continuing to work on that. Ricky's, I've been helping him go over design details and deployment, assisted with him deploying some UXG Max units. Those are the routers for each of the sites. So we're upgrading those as we're going through. And so I'm helping with some of the configuration on that as he's doing it. and aligning some of the cameras. So we have a thing where he brings up a camera, puts it on the deal, and calls me and is like, hey, tell me where this is pointing. So I'm watching the camera from my desk while he's aiming it at the fairgrounds. It's how we get things done. So I had the MAC meeting last week. I expressed my concerns about the co-located service providers on single cell towers. I expressed my concerns about the overall lack of connectivity due to the population and providers' unwillingness to further saturate based on what their actual profit margins are in the county. Max Cellular Mobility Provider agreed with my assessment. So he's like, oh yeah, you're right about all that. I'm like, that's kind of what I thought. DT said that Mac would cover the cost of those multi-homed routers for 5 years. And he said that that would come out of their tax money that they get for something. So I don't know if that's even allowed for him to do that, but that's where they said they would pay.
Yeah, they pay for quite a bit of the electronics.
So I expressed my concerns about who does the upfitting for the units in the patrol cars, who works on them when they need maintenance, how long will those cars be out of service, where exactly in the cars are they going to be installed. Those were some questions that weren't clearly answered. The sheriff did agree that when they start getting new patrol cars late spring, early summer, that they'll donate one of them to the cause and let them put one of their units in it so we can test it throughout the county to see if it really has a measurable difference compared to what we currently have for service. I don't believe that it will. That's my gut. We'll see. Sheriff's deputies have been very, very good at helping us test between Verizon and AT&T, FirstNet. So they will definitely put it through its paces. So more on cellular units. We finally have all of our Cradle Point GPS working. There was a licensing snafu from the provider. Don't know how or why that happened, but it took us way longer than I wanted to get it sorted out. But yesterday, Tuesday morning, all units were pushing GPS traffic. So those are all up to date. So we shouldn't lose a deputy if something bad happens. Kind of basic administrative stuff, daily interactions with Vanessa and staff concerning quotes, billing, and consent items, preparing a new surplus asset list for you guys for public comment and consent. GTS staff is working with CDI, our laserfish provider, to replace Quartermaster, which is our asset tracking system. We'll be rebuilding it in laserfish. This would make it available to all county entities as a function of laserfish. This will save the county a little over $20,000 a year in annual software licensing. Making a new group policy in Active Directory to automatically disable user accounts that are inactive for 45 days or more. This is a security measure being taken that we're still not being adequately notified about users being placed on administrative leave or separations. This is a non-destructive action that can be easily reversed without damaging the user's account in any way. So the new jail and the sheriff's office worked on designing and documenting the networks for the new jail and the sheriff's office. At present, there's going to be 10 subnets and 2 transport VLANs. I started then configuring those VLANs and subnets into the site in Unify. So we've already got a main router for that location. I'm already starting to build it. And I continue to work with contractors to determine drop counts, scammer counts, network switch, and other device counts. So we're also deploying a product called ThinPrint. This will make it easier and more secure for users to print from outside of our network to printers inside of our network. It will also make it easier to print from mobile devices, so like phones and tablets and stuff. So kind of directed at you a little bit in a good way, because I know that you print from weird things to this printer. So that's going to go back on the network, but we'll get you a ThinPrint client put on there, and then you can, when you print, it'll just boop there. You can print upstairs or print from wherever. It was
Or
also
to district court. Apparently, I had one that went to district court, which I have no idea how it's not district court. But.
So, and then the sheriff's office, because they're mobile in the field all the time, we know that there's going to be coming changes to how they function in the field through their, they might not be VPNing in anymore. ThinPrint was our solution so that they could still print in the field without being VPN'd in. So this is kind of it fixes a lot of problems across the board, and We got all of the,
Got the server.
the servers in place now. We got the port forwards in place. We've got the DNS in place.
Security certificates.
Certificates. Alex is the one that's kind of working on getting that deployed. So yeah, and that's kind of the world in TS for me in the last week. So I don't. Do you have anything?
Yeah.
Tickets.
Yeah.
Lots of tickets.
Tickets,
but,
always tickets.
I've been working. Renew has a Laserfish. Renew is coming online with Laserfish to work with their client intake process to help streamline that because of the HIPAA nature of the documents that they have. We have set up a separate environment for them to move into. So all the servers are deployed, and I'm waiting for scheduling with CDI to work out where we can get the product installed on the servers so that they have a home to move into. Additionally, I've been working with Will Clemmer. He's the developer for the general ledger software that the treasurers use, and looks like they're going live very soon. And I've got scheduled on Thursday that we'll be doing some work for their general ledger database work there. And then just keeping up on servers and everything else as things come through. So.
Cindy, are you still having trouble with your computer?
I was only locked out twice yesterday.
Okay.
I'm going to take a little jab at it. That seems like a record. You're doing good.
I know. I got back on. I'm like, oh my gosh, and they're out there like, oh, I got
Friendly
on.
jab,
I'm looking
friendly
just
jab.
to make sure. I'm like, oh. And it was when I brought this upstairs and then back downstairs. I feel like, but then
Don't we typically find that you have a device that like locks you out persistently or something?
it's
We
my.
just figured you guys were doing it.
Oh, no, it's never intentional.
No,
Good.
that's why my phone, these are the two items that I can always get my emails from. My laptop works,
Has your password changed recently?
no,
No? Okay.
and I can still get it on here. It's
Alright.
just, I have no
Just the
idea what it
laptop.
is, but
It'll just shut off. And then.
it's really frustrating. I'm like, Kevin, it's not me.
Oh,
Look
they're
at
counting
this.
on it.
It's an anti-technology
I'm
aura.
like, hey, look at this. And then like 30, 40 minutes later, I can get back on it. Then I can get on for a little bit. Then I'm all of a sudden, okay,
Okay.
get back on. I'm locked out again.
If you have the ability for either Barb to send us a message or something, when that happens, we do have the means to look up where it's getting locked from, and we can, it's not exactly clear and concise as to why your account is always locked out, but we do have means of
I just
trying to
assume somebody
investigate
else is
that.
on my system with me. I don't have no idea why. I'm like, I have no idea why.
But if you can let us know when you're
Okay.
locked out, then we can investigate that and hopefully find out why that's happening and
We can narrow
prevent
down
it.
the device that's locking it,
Mhm.
because it, like when it's trying to log in, so.
Yeah.
It helps.
Is-
It narrows it down.
It could, even on your laptop, it could be an
What do you
application.
like? You're like, oh, not
Nothing.
me. Job's like, it's me. I'm locking her out.
Well, a lot of
He
the,
doesn't have that access.
a lot of
Phones
the.
are really quiet. You're like, it's me. I'm locking her out.
A lot of the times, what we find out, it usually happens around when somebody changes their password, of course. So they'll have a cell phone that doesn't get updated, or they have a tablet that's in a drawer at home somewhere that's still trying to pull with that old credential.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it could be another application on your laptop that hasn't updated that password. And so even though you're logged onto your computer, there might be a cached password in an application that's trying to authenticate, and after 5 failed attempts, it'll lock your account out.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. Yeah,
So-
that's what it is.
And then the lockout's a half hour, and then if it's active, it'll do it
Yeah, that's probably
again.
what it is, about a half an hour.
And so every half hour, it'll relock you out.
Well, if it happens again today, we know what to do.
And don't feel bad, you're not the only person in the county.
But what I just heard though, Cindy, was when you get locked out,
Oh,
don't worry about a ticket. You just call Keith.
Oh, call 3301, actually.
That's what I heard.
Call
You
3301.
said. Just let us know when you're locked out.
Us, you said us.
3301 rings on everybody's desk.
That's
I
what
may
I
not be
heard.
at my-
TS
I may
calls.
not be at
That's
my
why, that's why I'm just smiling.
desk. I may not be at my desk, or I might be in another
okay.
meeting.
Yeah,
I'll give you
no,
his cell phone number.
no way. I'll try this, but it's just frustrating, because I'm usually looking for something or.
No, I understand.
Oh, and we moved, Renew, their QuickBooks is no longer hosted here. It was moved to, QuickBooks in the cloud
Okay.
yesterday, so. So they're,
I didn't realize Renew had use QuickBooks.
Yeah.
We have a lot of them. I think the
We talked him
fairgrounds-
into using it in 2018.
Sure makes life easier.
Well, they upgraded, they had Quicken. That's how old and like screwed up their stuff was.
Yeah.
And we're like, no, you guys should like really like upgrade to at least QuickBooks. So and then the QuickBooks that they were using was the original 2018 version that they had from then.
Someday
Yeah.
we'll graduate and we'll go to a county-owned financial.
Right. And then
It sounds like we could get off QuickBooks, and then it sounds like, no, we're not. We're still gonna be running two.
well, and that's sad, but they had a chance to upgrade from 2018 to 2024 for free, and they didn't do it. And so
How come? They were scared.
I don't know.
Just missed it probably.
The Intuit guy said, I'm not supposed to tell you this because I'm not supposed to be helping you with this. But if you go do this really quickly and then call me back, we can fix you. So they went out and they did a free trial upgrade to 2024 to get the files to the right version in order to move it to the cloud.
Okay.
So Luke was like, yeah, I'll call you back in half an hour. So,
Okay.
and Raina finally, like, they were like, so how many people can use this account? As many people are as licensed to use it. So what does that mean? So if you have one person licensed, one person can use it. If two people are licensed, two people can use it.
I want to talk about licenses for a second. Okay, so Grant County, right? So we went through some thrash with Microsoft licensing a year ago.
Oh,
yeah.
yes, 2019.
One instance, okay, and how many licenses? I mean, we had to add licenses because we didn't have enough, right?
Well, we had to pay for licenses that were not adequately addressed when
Addressed,
they were acquired.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Yeah.
but in the grand scheme of things, even though it was expensive, pretty small number, right?
No, not really. It was.
Okay. Well,
If you
let me finish my
spaced it
thought.
over- if you-
Let me finish my
If you
thought.
spaced it over 15 years, it was a low number. All at
Okay.
once, it hurt.
Yes, but, all right, so if you look at the lists coming out from Doge right now, the Department of Agriculture had 17,000 licenses they're paying for, the people don't exist.
Oh, yeah.
All told, licensing that our federal tax dollars are paying for is upwards of 300 to 400,000 licenses
Mhm.
for employees that don't exist.
That's,
It's an amazing number when you
So-
think about it, and an absolute lack of management. My point to that is we are actually managing our licensing very well.
right. So
And,
kind of to that point,
other
the thing I
that,
mentioned about the
yeah.
automatic disabling of accounts, because they don't tell us when people like leave and stuff. There's usually a Microsoft license attached to that account. And so when we disable someone intentionally because we know that there's something coming, we'll remove that license and put it back into the pool so that we're not having to buy licenses.
Okay.
And so, I mean, there's a whole lot of that goes on, and that's part of that process, but
The other problem with that too is when we don't get informed that somebody's gone, and sometimes it can be 2 or 3 months before we find out.
yeah.
That license is tied up to basically a ghost account. And when we get a request that, hey, we got a new employee and we need this license, and that license. If we don't know that those licenses could have been reassigned from that former employee to the new employee, we end up having to buy those licenses.
And we
And so-
try to avoid that. Our buffer is like between 10 and 15 licenses. That's how thin our margins are.
Yeah.
And it might seem like a lot, but I mean, it's,
So who would inform me, HR or the department head or elected official should be?
the department typically is supposed to inform us.
Yeah.
So-
And Larissa's been good at catching up. It's not exactly real time, but like yesterday, she put in almost, I think, a dozen change requests, and a lot of those were just making sure that we were aware that a lot of people were no longer with the county.
Yeah. Sometimes we get
So-
stragglers, sometimes the lists
Yep.
don't always add up, but she does a good job about trying to make sure we're not
Yep.
super out of date.
Okay.
Yep.
The departments still tend to forget that, hey, we put on someone on admin leave and now they're finally gone. We're like, you did that when? For how long ago? And what?
Imagine that bill across the whole entire federal
Oh,
government.
exactly, right.
Yeah.
So because we hear things like that, it makes us worried about our tiny little numbers
Yeah.
here. So we're keeping it as close to the line as we can,
Yeah.
so.
And then just to preload it, I mean, since we're talking licensing, Vanessa's working on putting stuff together for consent for next week.
Yep.
More Microsoft licensing, and it's part of our move away from our Hyper-V, our VMware environment to Microsoft Hyper-V. Kevin, you may not be aware, VMware was a product all on its own for a long time, and then a company called Broadcom bought them up. And once they bought them up, they decided that they only want to support their most highest level customers
Data centers.
and data centers and, huge corporations out there. And they raised the prices on a lot of people. And so, for instance, our VMware licensing cost increased by 250%. And because of that, we are moving from VMware to Hyper-V.
Yep.
And without knowing, I don't know if Kevin knows or any of the commissioners what VMware actually does.
So it's a virtualization platform.
Yeah, it's a virtualization platform. So we have a group of powerful computers that the VMware or Hyper-V, they're what are called hypervisors. Basically, it's software that tricks other operating systems into thinking that they have their own piece of hardware. So it's virtual machines inside of these main servers.
Think about it kind of like this, like this phone is like a server, like hardware. And think of each one of those applications as its own standalone server inside the box.
Yep.
So we can take one server and turn it into 10 or 15 or however many the hardware can support.
But then doing that, you can separate them from a security standpoint as well and help keep them more secure.
They're easier to back up because there's no hardware layer to worry about. So the backup system we have, our restores take what? A matter of seconds in some cases.
It depends. If we're restoring a file, it can be 30 seconds. If we're restoring an entire server, it might be 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But we can, if a server goes down, we can be back up and running in about 10 minutes. And then, where was I going? Yeah, so we're
licensing count.
Yeah, the licensing count. So you'll be seeing the quote for that coming across your desk next week.
And it's kind of it's a big number, but the nice thing is with going to the Microsoft way of doing things, we'll be paying, we'll own the data center license in perpetuity, and we'll own the CALs in perpetuity.
Those are client access license.
Yep, and then, so we won't need to upgrade those for probably another 5 to 6 years, depending on the Windows version and when we decide to jump to it. So
the model that's been built over the years that as far as I'm concerned, started with Adobe, this licensing model, I mean, they would license you for the air that you breathe if they had the chance, and everything requires a license. Yeah. So.
And when Adobe did that with their cloud, that's sweet stuff.
Yeah.
It was nice to have the original, but
I
didn't know that it was all going to roll into subscriptions. It made sense when they did it.
Yep.
That's how we get our Office licensing is through subscription from Microsoft. So. But yeah. Oh, that's it. I don't know if we talked to you guys' ear off good enough. Do you guys have any questions?
I'm glad you guys are handling it.
Okay. No one likes Microsoft. Microsoft licensing is so complicated that they hire and train people to become experts in licensing just to sell it. And those people tend to look really confused when they're talking to us about what they're trying to sell us. We're like, just please give us the N number that makes Microsoft go away and not fine us. And they're like, oh, well, then we just pay this really big one here. We're like, okay. And then we have to come explain that to y'all. So.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining us.
All right, cool.
We got 3301 in case you have any issues.
Yes, please. And our operators are standing by.
Okay. No, I probably won't have a problem now that I have your phone number. I will not have a problem today.
And Alex might be looking for you soon to help you test out your printing within print.
Okay.
So I was like, hey, contact Cindy. We know that she is a verified person that this is going to help greatly.
Yes, thank you.
So.
Cool. You guys have anything for the work session?
More work.
Well, we went over our time, so we have 5 minutes of the work session left.
We did?
Yeah.
All right. We'll go into recess until 11 a.m. when we're back for Budget Finance Committee meeting. Good morning. It is 11:01 a.m. and we are here for our monthly Budget and Finance Committee meeting.
Daryl.
You're running the whole show. He didn't tell you?
No, because I don't.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
He's coming.
I did, okay.
He'll come flying
I
in here.
did get the reports done though. I mean, I didn't, Aaron did. Aaron got them done finally, so we have reports.
She'll come flying in here soon.
I don't think there's anything too terribly noteworthy at this point because it's pretty early in the year.
Better not be anything too crazy.
I know, I'm like, I really haven't even looked at them. I grabbed them off the printer and haven't even looked at them.
Barb did say Daryl is on his way down.
I can't remember if that number changed that we looked at yesterday or not. Cindy, on your guys'.
What are you looking for?
Oh, I was just looking at the number, but this isn't the same one we were looking at. I don't have that one.
Mandy gave you this sweet little book, my budget book. So I don't have to look at it each time.
So you don't have to look at that.
Yeah, it's been great. But I was wondering, there was a comment. Oh, sorry.
They're on the phone. Trying to talk to Pat's.
Hey, you didn't tell us what did your auction do?
What?
Your auction last week or the week before? You had a distress auction?
We have foreclosure sale. We sold
Foreclosure sale.
all but 2 parcels. Our sale for those 2 parcels is happening right now and ends at 1:30. So probably no one bid on the first ones, and we got no bidders unless we're waiting the last second on the next one.
Oh, I thought it was like last week. Your
Well,
sale.
the last week, right, but 2 parcels didn't sell, so we put them up again before, if they don't get sold, then they're taxed up. Okay, sorry. Okay, start of the meeting. We have the approval of the minutes
Oh,
from
are
the
we doing that
January.
first?
What?
Are we doing that
Apparently.
first?
Yes.
Usually- We are?
Yes,
Okay,
okay.
let's do it.
So I need a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion approved.
I have a motion, second, all in
Second.
favor? Aye.
Hi.
Okay, so then, okay. This meeting was at 10:30, right? And so
This meeting starts at 11 and you have until noon.
You're only 4 minutes late.
You're all right.
I thought this is 10, okay, I missed, okay, so is the 11 just a change for today's, or is it intended to be 11 in the future?
Future.
Okay, I will, well, I already have it on there, so actually do that. Okay, thank you. So I'm not regretting being a half hour late. Okay,
You're good.
I'll take that.
Carol, like, deep breath.
Sorry for my
Calm down,
stress.
Bill. Okay,
All right,
so we're sticking with this one first.
right. Carrie's gone sick, and so that's why she's not here today. Gotta remember to do all her work on top of all the research I'm trying to do to try to get answers. All right, so we have 2 calls this month. One we show in green, that's called the 4th. We purchased 3 new items that are in red on this spreadsheet. So, but then the interest rates for the 10-year dropped down to 4.40 yesterday. I didn't have a chance to look today. So, which actually in a way is a little helpful for our bonds if this sticks this way. Interest rate drawing down and hopefully also showing the longer end as well. But that's where I got to feed the information to Jim Nelson for to start looking at that again. In regards to our sales tax, our revenues, we are more than last year
for February, countywide and for the county current expense fund. But we still have not made up for the losses for the countywide numbers for the big drop in January. The current expense is different based on different methodology where we're getting 15% of the cities. So it's not the same comparison why current expense could be way different. But right now we're only 3% ahead of last year for current expense, but the others are down countywide over 14%. So what we're saying is the cities have taken so far, just for the first 2 months this year, a big drop in their revenues so far this year. Now, property tax and all these things is, I got into putting in the budget numbers from the reports that just came out.
I'm gonna
So-
look for that too. She told me where it's at, so I'll have to go and find it.
And so, now that's the thing is, so we're behind compared to last year. And we'll see what happens, but the beginning of the year is usually slower for sales. And if we have an interest rate drop, that should also have impact for REIT. Of course, with less money, we're getting less investment interest, but we're still, we'll still see how we're doing. We're still ahead of what we were budgeted for the year. So the other categories, we had more money collected in January for property tax and interest and penalties than the year before. So, what is the answer?
I don't know yet, because she just told me where it was at, so I've got to go find it.
Yeah, because on our revenue report for the budget for property taxes, I did put it down, was showing almost $23.5 million on the revenue report that I got. And last time I talked to Amanda, that number was going to be 21 million, which means we have a $2.5 million drop in revenues that we will not be getting for this year on property taxes.
Is that because of the tip?
No, this is just, I don't know, that we're waiting to figure out where she came up with that number to put in there and how that number was used to balance the budget for this year. So we got the $2 million insurance problem, and now we got the $2.5 million. But that's not all of it.
Oh, good. Does it get better or worse, Gerald?
No, this is worse. I was just informed by Matt from the assessor's office last week, and I think that we have some major BTA decisions on data centers that have been in the pipeline for years that are finally getting resolved. That will mean millions of dollars of refunds, which will also hurt the current expense fund, probably at least $500,000. I never knew these were out there, or I would have been, even though we never know what year it hit, I would have been putting in a factor of the potential loss for these worst case scenarios, especially when we knew how much we took a hit on the one data center decision. Now, I don't know if it's ever communicated to the city of Quincy about that. And so, because I asked Matt, did you tell any of these entities about this that was going through the system?
So how does that work when the Department of Revenue is the ones that
Do the advisory appraisals?
do the appraisals and we assess
They're
them
just
as
advisory, and they're doing the best. And if they are losing, then you'd hope in the future that based on the losses they are doing, that they would rethink how they appraise them in the future.
So do we have to pay all of it back when?
Well, whatever value reduction.
But the junior taxing districts, the
Yes.
city? But I mean,
City,
who pays it all at the beginning? Does the city and
Well,
everybody,
I
or does
pay-
the county pay and then collect it from everybody else?
okay. Our softwares of the past and now. When we write the refund check, that refund check, the offsetting entry is the taxing districts that make up that amount. But besides the refund check, there's refund petition interest. on those amounts is all. That'll be going multiple years. That refund petition interest also gets spread at the same ratio as the tax amount that's each of them share of losing to these taxing districts, including the state. So we got that bad news. I didn't get told. I had no idea if these were out there.
How many of them are out there?
I don't know. I told her we got 2 big ones coming in and possibly 3. I don't know if that's it. I got it. That's a question I need to know, is we need to know these things. They impact other offices. They impact me. And that's why getting values and all these other things impact my side of the job. So right now, we got a bad year happening. How that impact the future and how you may, if you have any controls of any of your budget items that you possibly are wanting to move to another fund. Here we're talking about moving all these monies to, because of our having too much. I don't know if any of those you can decide not to do.
You can change your mind.
Change your mind and saying, we got this big revenue loss and more expenses that
Yeah,
we're.
we have that $2 million on the insurance expense.
Yes.
So who will be looking at these shortages of revenue and then the additional expenses to see where we really need to be for the rest of the year?
That would be a budget thing.
That'd be us right now.
Yeah, this is to be, yeah, it's just right now, we got a big revenue problem. The taxes, we've enjoyed many years where we did a conservative revenue item and we always got more than what we budget for. Right now, sales tax, we hope to make what we budget for. But all these other revenues, and it is not going to make up for this like we've always got the benefit of. So,
what do we pull out of our budget to?
we were, and when we were doing our budget process, we were looking at drawing down our reserves down. And I was trying to slow down the draw to make it last over years instead of have a immediate, trying to figure out how to pay for things when you take too much out of reserves each first couple of years. Well, now it still happened.
So my question is gonna be is, how many parcels out there do we have currently that are not up to date, that we're not collecting the right amount of tax on?
We'll have a whole bunch of, well, that's the thing is, I thought we were gonna be at a good point to start moving forward on the TIF, but now I'm starting to, I had asked more, it's because we were told the module doesn't work, but I can't get any collaborating entity from PAX to say that is the case. And so, and then PAX gave me bad information based on what they were told. And I don't know who told them. And so I'm having to get a whole new worksheet from PAX that shows this. But I got to have collaboration to know the rules and what they are in regards to the base. What is supposed to be the base? Taxable value, or is any situations where it's supposed to be fair market versus taxable?
So we're still waiting for the Department of Revenue to get
Yep.
back to us on that?
Yep, I sent an email yesterday morning. She probably looked at it and thought they were stupid questions. And about it, if I can't get them answered, I don't know, how do I move forward? And if I can't get PAX to talk to me once in a great while, this is just not fun. How do I make decisions with this entity? Then I'm told we have a whole different software than what all the other counties before us had. I didn't know that. And so we're beta testing, that means. And what changes in the software, what areas did it impact? Is that why some things we couldn't get to worked in all the other counties? So that's my problems. And so, but today's new thing I'm not happy about that's technically outside of this is our new website that a lot of entities hate, especially title companies. One of the things from the beginning is the title companies asked, well, where's the DOR codes, land use codes? And the answer we got was, that's not something the website had. Well, I just learned today that that was there and the assessor decided to turn it off. He didn't want that information available to the public, which forces title companies to either go to our old tax center website that she wanted also to shut down, or go call the assessor's office to get that number so they could process through the electronic simple file process. And that the reason they don't use it because some of the numbers, they're afraid it will be misused. So, which I didn't know. So I wasn't happy today learning that. All I was told, the software never provided it. And that was not truthful. So I'm done. I'm just not happy learning all these things recently.
Gary, you're a wealth of information on a positive note today. So we're at least $4.5 million short.
And definitely more, but I don't know the impact of the BTAs. Until I see the BTA decisions and how big the refunds are. But just to add, and I think I mentioned to all three, I don't know if I mentioned everyone. Last year, we had a data center refund over $1 million. The state portion of that was $154,000. The state got their money. But the way the rules are is because of the timing, it meant the current expense fund had to pay the bill on behalf of the state. But then, which I didn't think was fair. But I spent months trying to get the state to tell me what am I allowed to charge you and how, and they wouldn't respond. So probably, I think it's in the November report, I took that $154,000 out of the state's money, and deducted it from their form and sent them $154,000 less. That got their attention. And now all of a sudden, now they want to research it. So I just got an email this week, I guess it was yesterday, telling me in these scenarios, we give you permission to deduct it from our account when I turn in the state form on the 20th of each month. So in reality, what I did last year was correct, but I was supposed to get their permission, which they couldn't tell me what the process was. So at least I now, when I know these numbers on this refund, I asked them, okay, well, where do I put it on the form? Well, that's not important. Yeah, it is. Because I got chewed out for putting it in a certain place of the form. They're saying, you can't put that there. Well, tell me where to put it. And so I'm asking these questions, okay, so when we do this, where do you want me to put it on the form as a negative number? And they haven't responded yet. Well, that's a different department.
So maybe next year they'll respond to you.
So I know. So I'm gonna pick a place and they'll be mad about it. But then if you don't give me how to do this, but I have to get permission to deduct it from their funds. That we cover the checks first and then we deduct it later. Well, great. So that's the current process. But then, yeah, I don't know the impact of current expense yet. And one goes back to 2016 and the other one is 2019.
What did we leave in our reserves? 18 million, 12 million?
We were expecting after this year to have $22 million. If all those transfers were made, I believe our goal was $22 million to be left in reserves. If we do that, and if we have a $5 million, then we're down to $17 million which is a big drop. But then again, if you're going to use reserves to balance the budget for 26.
No, I think we need to really dig our heels in it.
Because we also didn't levy all the taxes we could have levied. We didn't take the 1%. And that's what's strange is, they're all the uproar on the change into 3%. Well, a lot of districts don't even do the 1%. So, but your fire districts and all these small entities, that, you know, inflation is killing them in the small cities. So it doesn't mean they just make that as automatic assumption, because we have been the one not doing it. But you know, with all these revenue problems, we may have to reconsider not doing our 1% at least. And if it's 3, that's always a decision, and the people have always the ability to vote. The problem is they just say, well, you should go to the voters and ask them to do this. There's a lot of expense to incur this and add more to county budgets, more use of the election department, increase their budgets to cover these additional elections they want to be the answer for. Especially when they're, I just reading, and it's sort of pet peeves outside. Of course, they're talking about court commissioners for adding more court commissioners to do some type of trials. I can't remember, for complaints of rents. Right, but if we have, because we have people complain about rents here. So if we're gonna have, if they're wanting court commissioners, who's gonna pay for it? And so I don't hear ever the discussion, okay, you gotta hire these people now, but who's gonna be paying their bills? Who's gonna be paying for the space that they'll need? So the solutions, while they sound good, there's an administrative side to the solution that doesn't get talked about much. So all this space that we have, we could be needing it for things like this. So just keep in mind that while solutions sound good, there's what's all the things that need to be set up to make that solution work. So I'm on a soapbox today, aren't I?
You just keep running on, it's fine.
So, no, it's been not a good year so far. I just wish someone would talk to me so I can finally know answers and move forward. So, all right, the next meeting I have is March 25th at 11. So, any problem with that state? That state's still set up, probably set up in the system. So.
Oh, because you have 10:30 on here, we've changed it to 11.
Yeah, I changed my new one to 11, and so I guess I knew about it by changing it. So I just have it still ingrained as 10:30, that I haven't replaced with 11 in my head. So, any other questions regarding the finance side? We're getting closer. We are, provide data. We're finding that getting data to the assessment districts has really struggled with this software, and was easy to do with the TerraScan. And so today we were advised that they should be getting their data from the GIS site instead of us and our data to find the data that they need. Well, that didn't sound like a great response. So the data is not made available in packs, but now you have to go get it from our GIS of what the mosquito districts want. So that's also something we learned today. So yeah, we haven't spent a lot of time doing assessment district cleanup on that. I have nothing more to talk that's not even finance. Just to show you, I realize that I'm just rambling on a lot of topics that I'm just getting off.
Get it off your chest.
Yes. I can't be doing budgets without all the information.
Okay, well, apparently we are, the little bit of information that we received right now, looks like we will be
Changing it.
Let's go do something else.
Let's go to that current, let's go to that, revenue ones, the first one, current expense revenue, which is so slow, we're at 6.
Dora, are you pretty sure we're gonna be short 2.5 million on the property taxes somehow,
Oh, yeah.
or?
Oh, yeah. Most
Okay,
likely
that's it.
3.
Well, and I'm gonna verify
Okay,
that
and we know
number
we're
too.
2 million short on
Because
the
the dollar
insurance.
number is used to balance the
We've got
budget.
about 5 million.
I don't know. I have to go look under the OneDrive and see if I can find it.
Yeah, after I found out about the $1.3 billion value increase that we did not know at the time the budget was going, I felt more comfortable that we were gonna meet that $21 million amount, but it doesn't.
Okay. Board, sometimes when things like this happen, really fun things, we do implement, I think our numbers are, I'm not totally sold that our numbers, we're gonna be short, but it feels like we're going in a direction where we know our revenue is gonna be down. We can put in a hiring freeze, so even employees that, it's not just new employees, but it's replacement of existing employees. And just
Coming out.
freeze it. But, so that's something to think about. You can only buy so much paper and the sooner you can kind of mitigate the impact, then the fewer employees or.
And then do we address the errors that got us here at any point, or do we just
Well, that's.
don't acknowledge those and just focus on the stopping hiring?
No, I think we need to address it, but I don't know how you fix it. We do have a reserve, a healthy reserve, but where we're taking our reserve, we've done it for the last couple of years to balance our budget. It's gonna catch up to us sooner or later.
But if you have perfect knowledge, when you're making your budget decisions and you had that 2 million in your budget, and then we had the property tax number correct, at the time you're doing budget, you would have had a $4.5 million decision to make at that time. And what would have been the direction? The property tax that we didn't get was going to owe maybe about 200,000 to 300,000. So that, that was, we didn't get it all like we could have because we didn't have all the correct information. But we also, it wouldn't have helped us much getting the maximum of every single penny that we could get. So then you would have had to look at where else. Now the decisions to move money out of the fund and do it this year because of having too much money in the cap, which we still is a legit issue. Could have been that we needed it to balance the budget. And that's why I'm sure those items that we decided at the end of the year to move and put money into places is now that if you should still do them. If they're, or,
I can't remember what's on
yeah,
my head.
what were those items that you moved? Because you moved a lot of money, millions of dollars to avoid that law. Where did they go? And can any of those be,
Software.
can any of those be reversed?
I think software, and then we did pay our insurance, part of our insurance premium last year that ate some of that up, and I think that's what screwed up our insurance billing this year. I could change.
So you would have been put to task back then with the same issue. And then it was quite what we had decided back then to do. Especially if the goal wasn't to not make a huge coverage out of reserves just to pay for it all, because then that's not sustainable. Because these aren't one-time costs. These are costs that are going to be every year. And you won't have a reserve left after paying for a couple
So
of years.
at budget time, what we should be looking at is to see the VTA, what they have outstanding. I mean, that should be something that should be a routine
Yeah, well,
address.
yeah, because then that means that the revenue projection you get I may have a $500,000 factor where we probably will, if we don't have anything happen that year, then we get, our revenues come in $500,000 more. But then you're just always preparing for decision. Maybe these are all it, and there's nothing out there, and we don't have to worry about this factor. That would be important to know. Is there any more after this?
Well, those are, I mean, the BTA will, those
And
are
that's-
tough because you don't know whether the state's.
Well, yeah, you don't know. what
You
they're
don't know if we're gonna win or
decision-
lose.
Yeah,
Right.
but you could at least go, if we knew.
Well, that's the thing is, if there are decisions out there, I would assume the assessor would have told you about them because you also have a third choice, is what we did with REC, is to settle.
Well, we've seen the information when they filed suit, so it hasn't been, I mean, we're, I can't
But
point
I
a
didn't-
finger at anybody
I didn't
else, we're
get told.
aware.
Well, the thing that upsets me is the fact that you have the Department of Revenue who is coming out here and doing these appraisals or assessments, and then telling us that's what the assessment needs to be, and then they don't back it up.
Well, no, that's why currently the law is advisory. The assessor can choose to do something else.
Well, I can tell you right now, there's nobody in our assessor's office that's qualified to.
Well, no, that's the whole point of these advisor appraisals, because all counties, almost all counties are depending on Department of Revenue to use their think tank to find consistency throughout the state so that people who challenge values can't cherry pick small counties who don't have a budget to defend it. So all these advisory appraisals. But I was pushing the concept of doing the Montana method, where it's not advisory. The DOR is the one that's responsible setting it up. Now, right now, they are just assisting in the defense. Instead of, I don't know what would happen if this was not advisory anymore. I push for that. Change the law for that. That I've mentioned multiple times to treasurer and assessors. that we should be doing the Montana model of making the Department of Revenue more in charge of certain values. Because asking rural counties who may have good things happen, doesn't mean we're prepared to know how to properly evaluate them. And that's a pride issue among assessors.
Michelle, did you see anything that, in the budget, I didn't see anything that.
No, there's not anything really that's happened yet, other than Daryl's stuff.
So, kind of calculating. So Daryl, I asked the question, I'm not sure I got the answer. So if, let's just see, say, a power company, we'll call it Daryl's Power Company, or Power Server Farm. You sue, get, file a claim against Grant County. Grant County has to pay you back. You've overpaid taxes by $2 million. So does the county write that check for $2 million and then we've got to go collect it from, let's just say you're in Quincy, we've got to collect it from Quincy, the fire? Or
We're deducting them out from each taxing district, and then say the end of the month, the taxing districts see this money less in their count. For cities, the negative impact is the 10th of the
So
following month.
we pay the full thing and then collect later. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Ouch.
No, we have the cash flow to pay. It's just.
Do you collect it within the month? But if it's large, you're not going to collect it within the month.
Well, no, I'm talking about cash flow. We may have the net effect be negative taxes for the month. If it happens on a different month other than April, May, October, November. And then we may not send money to the city. Then we have this negative balance.
But if it could be, yes, if it's in like June or July, when there's not a whole lot, let's just say if it was in Quincy, it's going to take until
Months
fall.
Right, unless we get them to pay us to bring it to zero.
Okay.
But cities aren't usually so desiring to do that. They just let us sit on the negative balance.
Okay.
But my concern is you have however many of these BTA things out there that they're disputing and then we lose on. How many of them are there over the years? And how many of them are gonna come back to bite us?
Well, as soon as one does and they're successful, they all will.
Well, they already do. I mean, all of them, it seems like they all go to the BTA and they go to the Department of Revenue or the state, and then the state decides whether it's correct or it's not correct. But then we're gonna be the ones paying the bill. That's my concern.
And the state's a portion of that bill, so they have their cost of defending it. They still have to present people to provide and defend it, or they put people, because can't put people on the stand and say how they could write those numbers. So it's them, but they're just a client advising us of how the numbers are reached versus the owner of the information.
And I've seen those appraisals that they use pumps from Texas and other areas.
Right now, there's sure a lot of screaming to build more data centers, so they're very popular now. Somehow, and that's why we had this sale this year on a data center where we had it, the state had it at 237 million, and they said they bought it for 175 million. There was already word out of how popular these were, so why is the value way out of whack, or was there some manipulating of numbers to try to set new valuations for the future by this entity that likes to sue all the time, us?
I don't know.
Seems like they're going to be very popular. So if you have one, you're wanting to do AI and want to get as much server power, it's easier to buy one that exists than trying to build one from scratch. So, all right. So one thing, I look at Michelle's report, a huge increase of carryover balance from a year ago of 8.7 million is reflecting, actually, and Kevin wasn't here, a lot of our increase in a cash position was not because of a lot more revenues. It was because we had a lot less expenses than what was budgeted for. And so by having less expenses, but a lot of the expenses were positions that weren't filled. And so we gained this additional cash position. Then there's a law that says we can't have over a certain amount times our assessed value. And we're the only county it applies to, because our cash position as a percentage of budget is way better than all the other counties. So we've had it easy regarding budgets versus other counties trying to figure out how they're going to cover and balance their budget. But this is going to be a big hit this year, and some tougher decisions be made that'll impact 26 in the future. So your report. I'll let you talk about your report.
Not a whole lot.
Yeah, Daryl, you're like stealing
It's
the
pretty,
thunder.
it's just for January, so it's pretty
Yeah.
small.
I know, yes, these are.
Not a lot of, there's not that much exciting things in here. It's just showing what we've taken in so far in revenue and expense, and what we've paid out. We have our overtime schedule in here. That's pretty much it. There's really nothing that stands out. Big. Not like yours.
Well, later in, when we have more months, one of the key features to look at the reports from Michelle's reports is our revenues, our revenues versus budgeted revenues, and our expenses versus budget expenses. That'll tell you some trends, but your property tax side of this equation is on big cycles of big jumps of money in a couple months, and they go way back down. So it's tough to, until you have a middle of a cycle where you have something that's more balanced, to just see how we're doing so far. I guess one of the questions, the January expenses, the $4.5 million. Is that gonna be, is that a normal month, or is there anything?
I don't see anything abnormal about it.
Well, we have the big health insurance payment, I believe is made. And then, of course, we have the disbursement of those monies that be charged to each district. I'm not sure that has come in yet for us, for everyone's share of those monies of that insurance, of the recurring expense.
6.17%, so nothing stands out
So,
huge.
so right now, that's not reflected in the budget yet. Is that distribution out of the insurance fund to all the entities that
And I don't know
put
if that's
money.
done. I'm
Yeah,
not
'cause
sure
I
if
don't
that's
think-
done
I don't
yet
think-
either,
yeah, 'cause
'cause
these-
that would make the, well.
Yeah,
I
this
can tell
4.5,
by looking at
I would
this.
expect to be much
Yeah.
higher, is if it's gonna happen in February, you may have a big extortion,
That's-
not
what
extortion,
fund is it?
just a fluctuation of a higher expense.
And there's nothing over here that indicates we've done that yet, so.
Okay. Right, so I think it was gonna be paid this month, but then we may not have the disbursement to charge the other districts until March, hopefully.
Because then this number would be much higher if we had that.
Yeah, because we also had some districts that didn't pay us for a while, and the account was in the negative for a while because we were getting the payments from them for their share of the insurance. So to me, it should be not just an invoice, but we do the transfer, not wait for them to make the payment out of the claims clearing fund. So we can, yeah, we can do a transfer with the expense codes without them having to go through and create a warrant to
Yeah.
deposit in the fund.
That's
And then you get everyone paid and no longer have to deal with it with the rest of the year. That's what I prefer.
I had somebody send me a request on the PUD to send their check through ACH to us. I sent it on to Carrie, but Carrie's out sick, so she hasn't answered me. PUD wanted to not give us a check, they wanted to send it to us for elections. And I said, well, we don't normally do that. I said, I can come over and get it. It's just across the street.
Well, receiving money is not a big a deal as paying bills by ACH. We don't want to open that door. When the mandates are from governments and your insurance, where we have these things deducted, that's one thing. Because if we get that into a situation, then I would want to put that expense side into a different account where money's put in that account, and then all the ACH costs. And just like I hate fire districts who need a wire be done, sent to all these places on the East Coast for a fire truck they bought. Well, that's why I said, that's why we gave you the opportunity to create your own bank account, and you do the wire out of your own account.
Yeah, not ours.
Because we don't want to get in the middle of doing all this
But
verification.
you'll do it to receive it?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, because we don't get harmed.
Okay. Because I haven't rounded back to that one yet, because I was kind of waiting for Carrie to answer me, but she's sick, so. Okay. Well, I don't really have a whole lot to
Yeah.
add, so.
This is something that doesn't tell you much until you have a lot more months.
Yeah, there's just nothing
So,
until we get.
well, yeah, okay, either this is a good time to ask for,
And we'll go back.
well, the numbers, don't think is what does this tell us for Kevin to get used to?
What does this tell us? That we were ill-prepared moving forward?
Well, things always pop up to make things different, so.
I'm glad we have a reserve.
We just
That's
have
all
to
I can-
adjust.
Yep.
And we can look for, and I can't remember what all we were gonna move money into after we got done. We can go look at that and see if there's stuff that we don't wanna do.
If those are just wish list things and not necessity.
I think that was more last year than it is this year.
Yeah, I don't think we had any.
I think it was just taking out.
Right,
pay.
but you decided to not move the money out at the end of the year, and that you were doing some transfers this year to special funds to show how we were gonna be under that amount that we're mandated to stay under. The law said, well, it's sort of like the you can't hoard money and continually get the monies growing and growing and never using the reserves to balance the budget and keep taxing more. That they set a law that only applies to counties and not cities or any other government to say you have this limit of the total assessed value that you can have your cap at. And if you go over that cap, you're supposed to reduce taxes. Well, the alternative is spend the money before that year and never be at that cap. So it's easily abusable or to find ways to get around the law. The laws have good intentions for counties not to be hoarding money. But why it didn't apply to cities and fire districts and all the other districts? That's where we're seeing a whole bunch of money sitting and they just continually asking for the same amount and have their reserves increase more and more.
And then we have to do everything for them.
And they have no plans to spend it. They just want their money to be bigger. That's where this Quincy Cemetery has this huge balance. Yet they plead poverty, and then so Rotary does projects for them because they say can't afford it to do beautification things on that when they're sitting a whole bunch of money that they don't touch. That's and I could definitely say the North Central Regional Library. That they're sitting, they have reserve monies for their reserve monies. They got a payroll reserve that is more than the payroll.
So they should build their own library and have their homeless people at it.
They just, but, and so the Carolina County Treasurer and I have been trying to put pressure that they don't need to have so much money. They're just sitting on so much money. And what is their plans for it?
Nothing.
And so they shouldn't be levying as much as they should be because they don't need the money. And this has been going for a couple decades for me and fighting this fruitless fight for Carolina County Treasurer. He's the one that sees all the money. And he keeps shaking his head. Why are they asking for this when they have all this money they never touch?
So how do we go about lessening that?
How do we get rid of that?
This is,
I mean,
well, first thing is
that a
I
vote?
believe Grant County that the board has gets to fill positions. And actually, we have the most value of this district. Technically, I should be the treasurer for this district. But they're based in Wenatchee, so, and there's no really necessity to disrupt that. But based on the most value and how much we're contributing, we should have more than one person on this board. So I don't know how many positions are allocated to Grant County.
Who's on that board?
Lisa Carter, where she got off, somebody.
Used to have Allstout that I technically was sort of related to and a very a distant cousin, Katie Allstott. They on that I complained to her, but it's just the board members that make those decisions. And hopefully they don't get bullied by the employees who push to continue not wanting to draw it down. So, today's my pet peeve day.
I guess.
Kathleen.
We should be, Kathleen.
Melva Calloway's on there. Nancy Churchill, I don't know where she's from. Jim Mitchell? Do you know he's on there? You practically have Grant County.
In my opinion, it sure sounds like the people on the board are not
We have two
using the
Grant
power
County
they
people.
have to affect change.
Jim Mitchell.
But they would probably, once you're on the board, you would never be presented information that makes you think you should cut your budgeting, right? So do the taxpayers have any say in
They
continuing
can
to pay
voice
the
and go to the
property
meetings
tax?
and just like any other taxing district, taxpayers can go to those meetings and ask, why do you need this taxes to pay for what? There's nothing wrong with that process. There's nothing wrong with government defending inflation increases. They need this for, this is the personnel costs. This is the things we need for replacing
Jimmy
equipment,
Spears,
all
the
these things.
attorney. Jim Mitchell.
Now, we're a lot more complicated and a lot more busy than some of these other districts.
Well, you live.
But if you have reserve funds and you have monies tapped, that information's available.
So we still, that's everybody's the.
And now
Douglas
that,
County. Yeah,
and
Douglas
I gotta go
County's
quick.
prosecuting.
When we put it on the website, we put it on the intranet, the Star Report, but not in the place where the public has access. Is there a reason why we don't want to have the public have access to it? Other than just doing extra work?
I don't know, because we only ever asked if we could put it.
Well,
asked you
we
to
have a
put
lot
it
of
on
reasons
the-
why, yeah. We have a lot of use for our taxing districts if they all have access to the
Well,
intranet.
and that would be nice. We can
And
post it
because if
out
we
there.
put it on the outside,
So if you want to post
on the
the
Star
stars.
Report and your expense
Well, but that's
reports,
kind of like you can, we dish it to TS, or we put it on ours because
well, because what?
it's easier for us, but
Yeah, because I was looking at what
you
is
can put it out.
what is the most likely place a person would go to for information for budgets?
I saw that somebody had it for the Mosaic School District. Somebody got a copy of that, and it was posted out there.
Well, they
I was
were
like,
asking,
ooh, an insider.
No, but the F-197s that I got public records requests for and provided are public documents. And that was the question is, here I'm turning on these documents to show their cash position, but the board wasn't even aware that the numbers they were being given were way different than my numbers. And I'm the one that holds the cash. And so, I don't want to put F-197s, that's a school district. But for us and our taxing districts, if we have, it's a lot easy out is, it definitely shows more transparency.
That's just a.
And then I don't have a problem making it available to the public, and then we can tell the public, here we are, this is what happened. Problem is, it's just numbers, doesn't tell what it
You
is.
just need to have somebody in there on the web that does your web, go in
Because we put,
and start posting it out there on that site. We put the budget out too for people to look at them.
because we just put on the investment
think
on
that-
our side, but I still think your site's the best place for budget and revenue and expense reports, but they're just numbers.
Yeah.
But they also see
Yeah.
the categories, but not the detail. The detail is important, but the detail is overwhelming,
Yeah.
but at least it's a start. So I don't have my keys with me. I don't want to get locked out.
We're done? Done.
I hate carrying anything with me, so I'm always have my pencils. I have my pockets empty all
We'll
the time.
go into recess until 1 p.m. Okay. Good afternoon, it is 1 p.m. and we are here for our human resources update. Hello, Decorah.
Hello, we have a public,
We need a public comment at the
comment.
entry to the meeting.
that's when it was last week.
Okay,
so-
well, there are no guests in the room.
Do we have any callers?
Do we have any callers online that have any public comment for our HR update? Caitlin?
You have one call-in user, Jim. I have given you the ability to unmute if you had any comment about the HR update. I'll take that as a no.
Jim, thank you for joining us. Number one, I don't have anything for that today. Number two, I have nothing, or number three. So today I have under position management, I have the public works PARs that we talked about last week. And the board had agreed to the reclassifications for the foreman. I will step up with the chair.
There you go.
Signatures on those.
My shirt stinks now.
And while they're getting signed, are you okay with me moving on?
Yep.
Okay. Topic, item 5, yesterday during PMR, we had 2 topics come up. Public Works is requesting 13 FTEs for seasonals. And questions were answered. Proposal was made. Or just needs to make a decision on that. Or if you have any questions about it that we can help answer that have come up in the last 24 hours.
I just gotta get our adding corrected.
Yeah. I asked the question before coming in, like, this isn't adding up. It doesn't add up.
Oh, I'm locked out again.
All up.
He's
Your
locked
caps
out my
lock on?
computer.
Oh, no.
So I'll just kind of give you what I think may have happened, but I have not talked to, up in our office. The insurance, we thought we were gonna have like a 20% increase and it was a lot higher. So in 2023, for the 2024 budget, we paid $2 million out of insurance, I think, just to pay it. So it didn't really get allocated to the different departments. And then when we did so that was for the 24 budget, 24 budget rolls around, we started the 25 budget. So we've got $2 million that never really got allocated or shared amongst the different departments and elected officials. So when we're looking at the insurance, we knew, because I told Mandy, we knew it was going up, was it 16 or 19%, because that was the rate. So I don't think she realized that there was a different number. So she just took what was in the budget from last year.
In the
I didn't even
2023?
In 2024.
Oh, okay.
And added to that, not realizing that there, on top of that, was a $2 million payment that was made out of current expense, just. So I think that, and transitioning, if we should have covered as a board, it's just a new team in accounting and
Yeah.
I think in our office, yeah, it just was a lot of change and we just missed it. And
Painful
everybody
error.
that touched it, except for the commissioners, we should have brought it forward, I think.
Painful error.
I don't know, I feel like we touched on the number a bunch of times. We don't enter the numbers. It's something that we would have known.
Yeah, but we were just, where they're different, they never got allocated.
Yeah.
So I guess we just assume they get allocated or they didn't, or.
Does Michelle provide any feedback or guidance to Mandy throughout that budget process?
I want to say, was Michelle? I want to say most of the meetings, was Mandy by herself for a lot of the meetings, or I'm trying to.
Yeah, Michelle came to some, most of them she was alone.
And typically we've had like Michelle, Katie, Emily, we've had at least 3 people.
Yeah, and this year, last
So
year,
it
seemed
was
like
pretty much one.
it was just
I mean, I think Michelle
Mandy,
probably was
who
there,
is-
just Michelle was there.
was the newbie, and she hadn't gone through a budget yet, so.
I think that guidance is important for Mandy's position. She doesn't know what she doesn't know, right? And somebody as experienced as Michelle, makes sense for her to help guide her through that and walk her through kind of what expectations are, but I don't
think it was a
know.
little bit of everybody kind of
Yeah,
dropped the ball there because we probably should have known. And looking back, I'm like, oh, that's right. We did have, we all made that decision to do that. So we'll remember next year when we're at like, now,
Yeah.
does this include that $2 million shortfall too?
Okay, so position management, the 13 seasonal positions requested by Public Works. They did add it in their budget, so. Just need a decision from the board. You're good with
I'm
that?
okay moving forward with it.
I would agree.
Yep.
yeses.
I did think that, it was double what they had last year, but they have enough projects going on
Yeah,
that
I
we can
think-
support it.
I think when we look at that, the difference of last year's projects
Well,
versus
yeah,
what
2
it's,
years ago.
yeah,
And then
what's going
last
on
year was
this
our
year.
first year with the big budget of projects.
Yeah. Okay. Second item under 5 is PA's request for 2 FTEs to be remote. So there are 2 new FTEs. Still wants to hire the 4 currently, there's 4 left, 4 open spots. So would like to continue to recruit for those 4 and then have the 2 if you can find them remotely. So.
All right.
We're good with that?
I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Item number 6, I don't have anything today. Item number 7, the development services open recruitment spot. Gina, do you want to?
Yeah, Jan made a
speak?
recommendation if I could open up my computer, which it'll be another 28 minutes.
Locked out.
Dan recommended that we could probably just, instead of, I don't want to say wasting our time interviewing, we could probably just.
Yeah, so there was one candidate, and that is your current interim.
I was gonna say, who is that guy?
His resume looks pretty decent, so let's go ahead.
Current interim, so options, so you have all of your options. You, with only having one candidate, you can choose to post externally and see what you get. Or you can move forward with your one candidate, and the choices, the options there are, if there's any unanswered questions that you might have, it might be a good opportunity to get them answered through an interview process. Or given that you only have one, if you have all the information that you think that you need to know in order to hire, you can choose to hire without interviewing.
Gina, I'm confident in the ability for the applicant to move forward.
I would agree.
Without doing an interview?
And we can start looking for a apartment.
Building official. So 3 yeses.
I'll second that.
Not trying to keep you out of the loop or anything, Decorah, but it's just.
Nope, that's just fine.
Just FYI, Dan, can't remember who he's been working with, but I've heard it twice now that people have really enjoyed, Jonathan too, working with kind of our newer team members that they've been.
Yeah,
so
oh, good. Thank you, I appreciate that feedback. Yeah.
Who did we meet with Dan yesterday? What, 12 people? Here.
Yeah.
Well.
I don't know how many, but it just like, can't remember, but yeah, it might come to me.
Well, thank you for that feedback. Appreciate it. Okay, item number 8, I don't have anything in that category. Does the board have anything for me today?
Just to kind of wrap it back around, just so I'm not letting anything hang out. Tom, I think, was going to visit with you about he has an internship program going, and it's in his budget for TS. So he may move forward on that, and he has talked to his team up at TS, and it looks like it would be a good fit to have our mailroom employee, and he's not doing mailroom, be an intern for Tom.
So are you suggesting we talked about this briefly before, and making the mailroom position a full-time position, or are you thinking having it be the 3/4 like it is now, and then having a second quarter-time position?
I think it's 3/4 because I don't know if everybody that we hire, if we were to go out for another mailroom, it truly is not a full-time position. But where there's some skills that this one employee, and I don't know if we're gonna get in trouble for doing it, but just kind of like filling a need. He's already trained, he's up and running, he's used to doing a great job. He will be leaving if it's not full-time. I don't think it's the right thing to make a job full-time just because an employee is asking for it, because it is not a full-time position.
Right.
So I don't know if it's like 70% in the mailroom, and then Tom has the other 30%. I don't know how that's gonna mesh, but we have it.
Here's my only question. An internship is usually 3 months, no more than 6. So is the intent for Tom's internship to be permanent? Because then I
I'm
think,
thinking it would be permanent, but whatever he's got, maybe he's calling it an intern in his budget, but for the last 2 years, he's had money in his budget for this, for an employee.
sure.
So
Yeah,
I
I
don't know if
wanna-
it's more of a training. That would be a question for Tom. I don't have the answer.
I will get some clarity on that.
But because he would be a county employee pretty much full-time, so we'd get full-time benefits, it would just be more of a part, kind of like our office will have like tourism, or to be kind of divided out. But I'll leave that up to the experts. And that's just my thoughts. Rob? Kevin?
Yeah, I don't know. I know that when Barb and Carrie recommended the mailroom, it was full-time. But I don't know why it had enough work then versus now. Or the thoughts behind all that, so I don't know.
Do you remember what year that was?
It was this last year.
Oh.
It was only in September,
The 23?
August. No, it was 24.
Oh,
The decision that Danny and you had made to not be full-time in the mailroom just happened like in the last 8 months, 9 months.
Yeah, well, and Carrie wasn't working full-time in the mailroom. She was working in our office, the other portion. Right. You know, fulfilling. So it wasn't, I think.
So it's nothing new then. It's been done before then, sounds like.
All
Yeah, but
within
we,
the
it was just a
commissioner's
full-time
office,
instead of,
yeah.
because Carrie had been there, instead of cutting back Carrie's hours, we just, okay, you've got a couple hours here, why don't you jump in our office and help? So she was helping Janice and.
Right. And it was all under one budget, so,
Gotcha.
Oh, I see.
But now it's
Yeah.
like,
Maybe under somebody else's budget.
yeah. Because if you consider it a full-time position, however, the extra hours that aren't in the mailroom is used, I would think that you would, one way to do it, make it a full-time, and then
just divide up the.
you divide it out, invoice whatever department is using that position for the time they work it, and then you get reimbursed for that time by the department. Which then Tom could use his funds to do that.
And I don't know if it's a reimbursement or it's just that portion of the payroll is.
Yeah.
I don't think we bill our
Well-
departments. I think they pay directly. Like Board of Equal pay directly. They're not billed. They pay. It'll be Caitlin's. Caitlin, correct me, please. Board of Equal pay for Caitlin's. She's a Board of Equal, might be Barb, but. Okay, so part of that, Board of Equal pays for that salary. Tourism will pay for the salary for maybe 2 months, however it's divided up, and then.
Right.
Instead of like a third, I think they. Carrie would.
Well, would the board be opposed to myself or Gina chatting with Carrie? She was in the position for a long period of time. And our current employee and see, look at the job description, maybe if there are things that that position could be utilized in that makes sense. I mean, we don't want to create a position, a full-time position if it's not necessarily needed, but if it's needed and there are things that can be done, we also don't want to lose a good employee if that's the case, so.
And when if we can make it work.
So we can do that. Okay.
What that looks like, I don't know.
Anything else from the board?
Can't think of anything.
Is it gonna be this short today? Oh, man.
I learned my lesson by coming in and saying, it's gonna be short today, because then it never is.
Because we have PMRT.
I mean, had Gina talked yet?
You want me to start my role? Sometimes I talk a lot. I'm sorry.
It's just a joke.
It's just a joke.
No, but I recognize that.
You don't. You do
I
just
don't
fine.
think you talked a lot.
Oh, thank you. I feel like sometimes I'm going on and on and on.
You just rephrase the example in a few different ways.
Exactly. I talk a lot.
I think it's crystal clear for all of us. What I think you're saying is, playing it out. How is the RFP coming along for that salary?
It closes today at 3, so
That'll be nice, 3 o'clock today.
today and
And we have some-
review will start tomorrow.
Obviously have some
At this-
proposals.
Before coming in, we had one, so.
Was there any discussion at PMRT about opening the Public Works Director position to internal?
There was not.
Okay.
Is
To
the
stay
board
consistent with what
ready
we're doing
for
at
that to
Development
happen?
Services? I don't know, that's why I was just bringing that up.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because I think we're at about 6, he's been in the
Yeah.
interim for about 6 months, so I,
we should have brought that up last week, yes. I think things are running really, really well. So if we were to,
for us to post it,
Posted internally, like.
post it internal 5 days. We can do that.
okay. Hiding, we need to.
Anything come back on District Court's position when we didn't do the retro?
No, I didn't hear anything, did you?
Nope.
Not yet.
Not yet. Tony's first thought was there wasn't a need to go back if the classification didn't change. Barb from the PA's office thought the classification had changed. If that was the case, then yes, we would need to go back, but there was no changes.
Exempt status.
Yeah, so as far as we're aware, we are closing that and
You know, the PA's office are still waiting to hear back if we need to have public comment at your meeting.
Oh.
But we're covering it with our public comment.
We're covering it. Okay.
Nothing else?
I don't have anything
Long
else.
recess
Okay.
coming up. All right, we'll go on recess until 2 p.m. when we are back for our weekly commissioner meeting.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. It is 2 p.m. and we are here for our weekly commissioners meeting. I will now call the meeting to order and begin with an open forum for citizen input. 3 minutes per person, 15-minute time limit. I have no one in the audience and I do not see any
We have Tom.
attendees online. Tom, do you have any public comment?
I have no public comment, thank you.
Okay, well, I'll entertain a motion then.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the agenda.
Second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Correspondence, any emails that have come in that need response or letters of support?
I sent you guys that little FYI. It was the Board of Quincy was doing a letter of support for a bill. They did not ask for one from the commissioners, but they sent it to us. That was the only one that I had.
Okay.
Caitlin, on the agenda, it says Ephrata Forward Council of Governments. Has that one been under correspondence?
Oh, yeah, that was what we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Barb, do you have anything for us in those topics?
No, sir, I don't.
All right. Round table then, commissioners. Any items for round table today?
I don't have any.
Neither do I.
Not that I.
here are the 4 walk-on items that are coming today. They'll need the motions made for them, so.
So the 4 walk-ons would be the Columbia Basin Herald invoice, number 1, number 2, the annexation petition for the city of Ephrata. Number 3, New Hope, the Commerce Stop Grant, they're just correcting some Grant County and Adams County numbers. And number 4, the road levy certification from Dave Brand, and apparently that will be in his email that will be sent probably to you, Rob, hopefully, from Kraft.
Okay. And then just the plan to hold number 9. Correct. And other than that, I don't think there are any modifications. Tom, do you have anything for roundtable?
Just that walk-on petition for the city.
Okay.
City of Ephrata?
Yes. For annexation.
Barb, do you have anything for roundtable?
No, sir, I don't.
Right.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda. Are we there yet?
Yep.
Items 1 through 16, holding item number 9, which is the moving the commissioners' time from 2 o'clock to 1 o'clock each Tuesday.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
How long would you like item 9 held for?
Well,
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes to approve consent agenda items 1 through 16, holding number 9 for 2 weeks.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve, do we want to do all 4 walk-ons or one at a time? I'm okay with all 4.
Yeah, you can do 4 today, I believe.
Okay, the first walk-on would be the Columbia Basin Herald and invoice in the amount of $40,000 to the Columbia Basin Herald. A walk-on item number 2 is the annexation petition for the city of Ephrata, submitted by Tom Gaines. Item number 3 is a New Hope Commerce Stop Grant. It's more of a correction. It will be emailed to us for signature. And item number 4, the road levy certification, submitted by Dave Brand.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I just want to clarify the invoices. It should be for the Columbia Basin Herald and also certified folder. So Columbia Basin Herald will be the 40,000, and then certified folder, which is the distribution of the guides, should be 17,000 and something else.
$14,912.83.
That one.
Okay, so let me amend my action. So item number 1 would be 40,000 to Columbia Basin Herald. Number 2 would be the certified folder for distribution, travel planners, in the amount of $14,912.83.
All right, motion and a second with the correction. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes to approve the walk-on items and amendments made by Commissioner Carter.
Go to sign number 9.
I won't.
Okay.
Don't you hurry.
Yeah, if I can get a copy of it, I have to walk that over to the city today, that annexation. Her petition. 4?
4, yep. That's fine.
How goes you?
Not bad. Good enough.
They make all
Having
these.
to suddenly take an inventory of the closet.
I don't do copies.
And she lives
Favorite
somewhere you
is,
can make a quick
Basin-
trip.
Basin Street Espresso, the one that's by Safeway. It's a reimbursement request.
Yeah, how many times do you have to wear
Cup
Not
of
very
joy's
often.
probably my
I was
second
just worried
favorite.
about packing it.
Yeah. I think I've got a garment bag that I can take.
I didn't.
Is that the coffee?
And I was gonna order one yesterday,
The
but,
coffee stand is just called
Oh,
Fruit Bliss. I'm
okay.
just not a fan of theirs.
but I didn't. So I ordered them today.
Yeah.
See what I get.
I was gonna up my vest game too. I was gonna wear good.
You can't wear a vest?
That's not business. That's more business casual. I don't know. I probably could, but
I mean, I would bring it.
yeah,
See what you're working with.
yeah, that's true.
It's a really nice vest.
Wait, you can wear,
Options.
have you,
Yeah.
county commissioners will show up in suits and Western attire and.
I know.
Well,
We just got the dress code for NACO, and they said it's business during the day and business casual at night, so.
business in the front and party in the
Hoodies
back.
and dunks at night, that's what it is.
I'm a plumber. Show up in my Carhartts.
So these are my nice jeans.
That's right. These don't have any pipe dope on them.
My nephew, I said, where are your work jeans? And he's like, my work jeans, my school jeans, my dress jeans, they're all the same jeans.
Yeah. This pair's got a little cutting oil on it from the pipe threader.
Okay, I just learned that with a can of computer spray,
Mhm.
you know, like your air.
Air, candor.
If you spray it on, you know, like you'll get grease on your sweatshirt or whatever, you can spray it on and it removes the grease and oil. Like if you're frying something on your shirt or that can air. Yeah.
Who
Do a
knew?
little test, cause I'm like, oh, so I used to like.
It's a life hack right there.
You know, cause you'll get like a little, I'm like, I don't run your shirt. Can't afford to run your shirt.
I like the Tide to go pens recommendation from the DAB.
I need a pack of those.
Like this.
Yeah, a little Tide to go, yeah, just the most fun. There's also the spray, the Shout. Spray it on the spot. You leave it for like 2 to 5 minutes. Invoice. And then you gotta wash it like right after.
Oh, you gotta
that,
wash
though.
it. No, I'm
Right
kind of
after
a bad eater, so
Yeah, but
I
if
rarely
you-
wear white because you can tell what I have for lunch because I'm wearing it.
Out of state travel request.
Look,
I got done putting my truck together, my wife says, you're gonna throw those pants away, right?
Are you kidding? That smells like progress.
I have a friend who hates camping. Every time she would go camping, she literally would just burn her clothes and she'd wear her old clothes and just burn them in the fire. So she didn't have to pack them home.
Towing company.
That's the funniest thing.
That's interesting. It's just smoke, yeah.
Like, oh, I'm going camping. So I'm
Comes
just
out in the
gonna-
wash.
that's what I'm used to.
It's one way to do it, I guess.
Well, we all have clothes
She
that
just
are
didn't
like.
wash them, just got home.
Yeah. There you go.
Figure out a good willpower.
Towing contracts for line towing.
Which one?
So,
Neither. And on the deal, it said HD.
The first one is HD.
Oh, I haven't heard of either of these. It's probably people they know.
you just need Rob's signature on this one.
Purchase order. Probably.
That's all that's on it.
Like, then yes.
I'll put it on this.
Barb did the stickers for this one, so.
So there is none.
Oh, there are stickers. That's the invoices.
Or the stickers.
You already signed them.
How is your foot going?
It's all right. It's a little, it's still a little sore, but it's not terrible.
What'd you do to your foot?
Oh, I broke it like weeks ago.
Oh, that's right, that's right, that's right.
Remember on Valentine's Day, then she quit wearing them.
It's kind of dark you signed this, and so I don't know if it matters where I stamp this. I'm just gonna put it back. Keep it right here.
I approve this blank piece of paper.
I'm gonna stamp that. Couldn't sign this one.
Oh, you're in charge. not gonna do that.
I spelled February wrong on that one.
It sure is okay.
To get my plugs. I do need a new bag.
Kind of bag.
The turkey bag. I want a 55 key ball, but I don't want to pay for one.
Oh, what?
A 55 key ball.
You're gonna get it?
I don't know. I was gonna try to
You won't be happy with it.
work some magic through you.
Glad I'm not the only one.
Okay. That's it.
All right. Well, the weekly commission meeting will end at 2:12 p.m. and we will be back at 3 o'clock for a WCRG update.
Cool. Still don't know.
What, a bag? It's a purse.
Good afternoon. It is 3:02 and we are here for a WCRG insurance update with Shane Heston.
But thanks for talking about cookies and you didn't even bring it up. My gosh, I was just telling him that I'm craving something sweet.
Like I'm in a jury here, sitting down here, so I'm gonna pass out some information and I'll stand and talk if that's okay. Or I'll give you a copy of these as well.
Thank you.
Wait, is Blair, do you want Blair down here?
Blair, I just talked to Blair, I gave him these reports.
Caitlin, you want to see if Blair wants to come down since he is our insurance guru?
So this report is the policy year that we wrapped up in December. So November 30th is a close date on that. We gave a kind of a summary report on that last meeting, but I wanted to just give, this will be the final one on that. Really no activity report. We ended the year with 46 claims, which if you remember the trending report I did, it's not our best year, it's not our worst year. We're about three right at our average, so we're right in the median area. So I expect, and as you have seen in the past, this will develop over the course of time. So these ones that have some potential for personal injury and stuff like that.
Please join us, Blair. You don't have to stay if you don't want to, but I figured this is probably your be one of your meetings.
So as I was alluding to, we're probably going to see some activity on this or develop over the course of a couple of years. You know, we have a 3-year kind of statute. After that, it goes away. We did get some recoveries last year, which were successful. You know, those are the ones that give us a chance to recover some monies back. And when they recover money, you recover money. And so at some point, I'll give you a subrogation report to show what's been recovered over the course of time. The next report I'm going to share with you is the current policy year, and we filed a claim today, actually. It happened yesterday in Moses Lake, right there at the 5-way intersection. Reading the report, it's pretty minor.
Is this the one from Public Works employee?
No, this is Grant County Youth Services.
Oh.
Yeah, basically, looks like the car didn't signal properly and just kind of, turned into him. So it's one of those deals where we just filed a claim. We've got some damage to our car. We actually got a report of estimate already, so we've actually got that one turned in. Yesterday, we got do you remember the accident that happened on the highway out here, the Gun Range Road, where our employee pulled out in front of somebody and we had a passenger in the car?
Oh, yeah.
They got the update. I sent it to them.
Okay, yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The one I sent you yesterday.
So there was a tort filed yesterday for 75 on that one. And again, that was in policy year, the previous policy year, so it doesn't show up on this one. So
Yeah, we just got that.
as we know, we get these claims, after the policy year is closed, so they'll stay active. And we know that, some claims can stay active for years. We have some over 12 years old right now. But so far, we're at 7 claims, which if you want to put that on an average, we're kind of we're trending right at averages right now. Winter's been mild, so that's been helpful. Thank you, Blair. This one is policy year 2021. This is one we watch carefully because of the aggregate limit of insurance. getting dangerously close to its end. There hasn't been a big big adjustment to this since the last report. However, we did have that Carly Gray claim going to trial. I haven't got the final deposition or numbers on that one yet, but I expect to have that one. The Danica Ross drowning. We've got the Ramos claim on there as well. The dangerous road design allegation. We also have on there is where we're being named as a co-defendant in a lawsuit with the cattle company out there by Quincy too. So that one is going well. Good news to report, we haven't seen any catalytic converter thefts in a while. So whatever law enforcement efforts have helped deter the catalytic converter thefts, we've seen that drop almost off completely. We don't see those claims anymore. We do see some wire thefts and precious metal thefts once in a while, but not the catalytic converters. So that's helpful.
They're not buying them anymore.
Yeah, I guess we're not buying them anymore, but that's good, right? There was an update to we were just talking about it. Claim. Claire and I were just talking about what was the claim we just talked about? Okay. All right. So, any questions on the first three reports? The last one is your all open claims, and Claire's been going through and getting the old ones closed out. There hasn't been activities on them. Of course, they could be reopened. You'll notice that constitutional of rights allegation, where there's like 6 claims there. That one most likely is going to get dismissed all at once, but we don't know at this point. Oh, the Brenda Adami.
I know, I'm looking for the Adami. That's
The Adami claim. The Adami
claim. It's on the very bottom here.
So that one is actually, that's the one I was trying to remember.
Yes.
That one actually went to trial and it's been settled and closed. And Cindy, I know you're aware of that one.
Yeah.
So that one's completely shut down. So that one will go from L to a C.
I didn't think it went to trial. I thought we settled before.
It was settled. It ain't gonna, I got kind of a great claim.
It'll stay L, but then it will be closed. They keep it the L on it, but it'll stay closed. It'll just be, the closed date will be on the report.
Because that is done.
So you can see the R, there's recovery on that one. For the R, we got $11 back on that one there. Got 2,300 or 2,100 on another one. So we're continuing to get some monies back.
It's making money right and left on our recovery.
Yeah. So total open right now is 3.7. That's expected to change over time as these develop. But I would expect this list to shorten up as Claire's going through and getting some stuff cleaned up. Clear Risk generally keeps these claims open a little longer. They can be closed down, and it's just a matter of just cleaning up.
Three or four more were closed today.
Yeah, so we'll get this list will continue to close. As this list was pulled at the beginning of the month, we'll get a new one here the 1st of March. We'll come and see you in a couple of weeks, like the 3rd week of March is when we're scheduled to give you another update. The ones that's particular of interest to me that I'm watching closely, it's that Danica Ross claim. As you know, that happened, that drowning at the gorge.
But you really didn't have a whole lot to do with that.
Yeah, again, it's that whole argument of a permit. We issued the permit, so we're liable. I can't find the rationale for a legal argument there. But lawyers get paid to make legal arguments, and so nevertheless, it's going to cost us thousands of dollars to defend it. But as far as a resulting damage claim on that one, that remains to be seen. I'm not optimistic that that's going to go away, but I'm also not confident that they're going to get a large sum of money on that one either.
So if I'm looking at the Adami one, we spent $159,000 on attorney fees.
Well, no, the total claim was $310,000. The $359,000 is just what's been paid. Sorry, $150,000 has been paid, $159,000 is in reserves, and of course your deductibles factored in there as well. Mm-hmm. So they just put $300,000 on there. When they close these out, they'll actually get those numbers, to the exact.
This is not what it was. We settled for $150,000.
Is that what you settled for at $150,000?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think it was that high.
Quite a bit less.
Yeah. So I don't know if that has attorney fees. If you want a breakdown of that, I can get you.
Yeah, no, I was thinking it was less, but
I can get you a claims breakdown on that. If there's any particular claim here that you'd like to have a breakdown or more detail, let me know. And as a matter of just kind of process here, about twice a year, we bring in, the attorneys and have an executive session. If you want to get something on
yeah,
the books for that.
you probably have something in my email about it.
Yeah, no, that's just the reserves. So once it's closed, they'll change it all to
Okay,
what it is. So that's just reserves. And they go higher. So they don't have to change it if possible.
Yeah, it's not on here. It's the
105
105 is what it's on.
on December 13th. The new one?
Yeah,
The new debt?
the new one's not on there yet. I wonder if they'll update that next month.
Yeah, because I just came in. Because this was as of.
Oh, have they filed?
This is 2/5.
2.5, yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, well, we're expecting it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, all indications are that
It's on there.
it is on there. Where'd you see that, Kevin?
Coverage general liability, the top one.
Oh, there it is, Rob Lambert. Okay, it's just in the wrong category then. That should have been grouped under law enforcement liabilities. That one's miscoded.
Yeah.
It's even got,
Good catch, Kevin.
it's even got Brian Israel in there, should also be down in jail, so that one needs to change.
We have it, law enforcement. They have a couple law enforcement up there too.
Yeah, wrongful arrest. Because I think sometimes in law enforcement, you're gonna pay a couple different coverage. You got liability and law enforcement liability coverage. If that would trade.
It does help us when we go to reinsurance. It doesn't show those
Right.
law enforcement.
So,
It just shows general liability, so it makes our law enforcement look better.
Do you have any questions on any particular claim that I can answer or research for you?
So remind me what is that else?
Litigation.
Still litigation.
Yeah, Kevin, that's litigation.
Clear Risk does it so they can search it and see what's been litigated. So it's for their files.
And the others for open.
Yeah, open, and then if it's R, it reopens.
Reopened or returned?
Reopen. Usually it's the reopen.
Reopen it, and then S would be subrogation.
But they do have it for return though too, so. that's
Oh,
one.
so because I returned $2,100 and a whopping $11.
Yeah, they have it, but it's also a reopen though too.
Okay.
It's a reopen.
Reopen or return, but yeah, we have to look for the money at the end.
that was the exciting claims report for the day. Anything else I can?
Well, I'm glad we're getting a few of them.
Yeah, it is. It's nice. Well, I think the winter season's, always a possibility to have, big freezing times, and we've actually gotten through the winter pretty good, so that's helpful.
Keep it up.
Yeah, last year we had that one day where we had 5 claims in one day. Same thing. Not this year. That's all I have for you.
Yes, that was a good, that was
It was a quick freeze too. It got everybody by surprise.
it's like ping pong or whatever. Those little machines, a little pinball, like a pinball machine.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
It really good.
Okay, well, let's do
Have
it.
any questions? Kevin? Cindy? All right.
I'm just glad that one is
Do
done.
you have any questions?
I have no questions.
No, we're doing renewals for NPIP right now, so that means we'll start the county's renewal, believe it or not. We'll probably start that in August, so we'll be firing up the questionnaire and excited to be working with Blair. I'm really excited that you hired a risk manager insurance person. That's gonna be what's
We are too. Blair is pretty pumped as well,
So does
because he
that
has
save
no
us-
idea what he's supposed to be doing and we're.
Let's say it's 25% on our policy.
Well, I'd like to say that, you know what,
You
we
should
might be
shave
able
us at least 10,
we might be able to, percentage wise, maybe like 1/10%.
10%.
Well, you guys are paying $6 million for insurance, so 10% is quite a bit.
It seems pretty fair when you've got 25% increases.
I've always said, hey, whatever you save, you add it to your salary, right? So.
Yeah, that's what we're doing, exactly. Exactly.
So you guys need to have a chat.
Yeah. But anyways, we'll start that, but I'm optimistic that just with the amount of detail and the level of review that's gonna go into this, we're gonna find some things that we're gonna be able to adjust, just like last year with Tom Gaines and everybody. You know, we moved the correctional facility up on the hill of we pretty much had a, surplus valuation. That saved $80,000 just doing a lot of that stuff last year. So helped us offset the rate increase. And that's all I have.
Did you have a nice time golfing?
I
hardly break, I think you were down in Arizona.
Well, I was picking up a van. I bought a little RV and I was driving back.
I'm gonna recess real quick, then you can keep chatting.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
It is
thank you.
3:16 and we're gonna recess for today and the week, I believe. Thank you.